bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Well. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Wednesday, December 14th, 349 days into the new year. Just 17 days left, everybody. We made it. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your so humble host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Where are my dancers? You guys are slagging, man. Where's my dancers? I want my dancers. Tonight, Alex Mistretta is here, live in the bunker. He's sitting right here to my left. We're going to talk about his latest Bigfoot expedition, and then we'll let the conversation go where it goes. And I wanted to impress him with the dancing, my dancers. Where are my dancers? Show Alex what time it is. That's a good one. That's a good one. All right. Tomorrow night is Thursday night. It's going to be another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom. And that Nacho Libre is pretty good. Oh, is that, what is, that's Eric. Eric, what is that? You guys are good. You guys are good. Karen's on fire. All right. So that'll be Thursday. Friday, I'll be over hosting Coast to Coast AM. I'll be there all weekend, sitting in for George on Friday. My guest is going to be Douglas Rushkoff. And then on Saturday, my guests will be Ralph Ellis and Howard Bloom. Follow me on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do, at JChurchRadio. And, of course, Facebook and YouTube. You need to go and like our Facebook page, the Facebook radio page. We put up links to it earlier today. And look, Mark Tarana with the dime bag Daryl. Well played. Well played, my friend. Got a little Angus in there, too. Our Facebook page, because our Facebook page is at Morris Day and the time. Look at that. Doing the bird. I miss that. I miss that so much. Our Facebook page, our Facebook radio page, because that is updated, all day, all night, and all of the news is there, as well as updates for the show, and, just everything is there. So do go like our Facebook page. We try to stay on top of that first. Then everything bleeds out into Twitter and so forth. But the Facebook page, obviously, if you follow Twitter, you know what happens first, right? It's just the way that it works. Technically, Facebook happens first. All right? You can email throughout the show tonight, Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. Now, the sandbox is hashtag F2B. I have Twitter live to my left. I have it live to my right. I have the chat rooms. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. Go and get yourself Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, we're going to show you what Twitter really does, because we'll go through 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 tweets a night during a show, live in real time. So you want to hang out and do it with us, just get TweetDeck. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox. That's really what you want to do. So follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Any questions for myself or Alex tonight during the show? Hashtag F2BQ. Man, these Dimebag Daryl gifts are really, really, really cool. All right. Happy holidays, by the way, from all of us here at Fade to Black. And all of the gifts that keep on giving, you're going to get from one of our sponsors, or all of them. Life Change Tea, promo code Jimmy. That's all you got to do. Go to the specials page. You're going to get free shipping. Use the promo code Jimmy either over the phone or online, and you're going to get it done because you're a Fade or not. River Moon Coffee. Did you see the video that River Moon Coffee posted today of them, Jeff? I'm assuming Juanita was shooting the video. I don't know. Making the Fade to Black blend coffee. It's like the coolest video ever. And I'm looking at it. Somebody needs to repost that video. That video is really, really cool. Anyway, River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. That is the perfect Christmas gift. Use the promo code F2B blend, and you're going to get 15% off of your order. Studio Dome and their Fade or Not special. Another great holiday gift. It's a stereo Bluetooth wireless system. Power cables, really cool dual USB power cables. 2 SBB2 speakers, $129 in a hard shell case, 60% off the normal price of $399. And you also get free shipping. Or get yourself a Zipa. Check this out, Alex. Grab a Zipa right there. Yeah, I've got boxes of Zipas here. How cool is that? Open it. Don't hand it to me, Alex. Alex drinking during the show. But that's a Zipa. How cool is that? That's actually new. That's still sealed. That's hermetically sealed. You can't open that yet. It's all sealed. But there you go. There's a Zipa. All right, Zipa, ZYPPAH.com. That's all you got to do. Stop snoring today. And then the first big conference of the season, the Conscious Life Expo, is going to kick off this February 10th through the 13th at the LAX Hilton right here in Los Angeles, California. We're going to be broadcasting Fade to Black from the Plaza Ballroom Friday the 10th. Of course, Alex Mistretta is going to be there. Steve Murillo is going to be there. I think just because those two guys are going to be there, Wilcox going to show up, Corey Good, Dolan. They like to hang out where the real guys are, like Mistretta and Murillo, Linda Moulton Howe, David Hatcher Childress, Jason Martell, Nassim Haramein, of course, George Norrie, Mike Barra will be at the bar most of the time. Sean Stone, William Henry, Danny Sheehan, Whitley Strieber, Daniel Brinkley, Laura Eisenhower, Del Bigtree, Lisa Garr. Everybody's going to be there. We'll have 10, 12, 14 or more guests on the show that night. And then the next day, I'm going to host the Ancient Alien panel. So come and hang out with us. And if you can't make the event, which you should, because it is tremendous. I don't know how many people are there, 5, 6, 7,000 people at the Hilton. And they probably are running 10, I'm going to guess, 10 or more banquet halls at the same time with video, full streaming of each event. So if you can't make it, you can also get their live video stream package, and we will get the links up to that very shortly. With that, let's get this show cracking. Our dead guy's birthday today is Nostradamus. I'm going to turn on. Say hi to everybody.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Man, yeah, Alex is here. He's fired up. Did you know it was Nostradamus' birthday?
Actually, I did, because my mom wrote a book by Nostradamus.
She wrote a book by him?
No, about Nostradamus,
okay.
yeah.
I was going to say, she's really connected.
That would be cool.
Okay. It's Nostradamus' birthday today, 1503 to 1566, died at the age of 62. He was a physician, which a lot of people don't know. They just know him as being the seer who published his collection of prophecies that have been followed and tracked for hundreds of years. His book, The Prophecies, check this out. The first edition of which appeared in 1555 and has been published continuously since his death for the last 500-600 years. Is that crazy? That's crazy. You're not on. No, you want me to turn you on? You got something to say? I love this. See, I got the mute button I got the mute button. I control. Alex won't shut up. But if I turn on his microphone, he's got nothing to say. That's just the way it goes. On this day in history, 1911, Amundsen becomes the first explorer to reach the South Pole, beating his British rival, Robert Falcon Scott. And he found out that the Earth wasn't flat. That's right. Bumming out hundreds of flat earthers around the globe. Ba-dum-bum. What do you think, Alex? Before I kick this off, what do you think about this flat Earth stuff?
I think it's crap. I have one word for them: gravity.
Why? Okay, that's good enough for me. Why do you think it took on the life that it did?
For any other reason, any conspiracy takes hold. I think people like to be counterculture, counter what's going on. They like to stick it to the man, and lack of belief in the system.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that the flat earthers themselves believe that the Earth is flat?
I think some of them do, some of them don't.
They don't, do they? They just want to argue, want to debate.
Yeah, I've known plenty of people like that. Whatever you say, they're going to say the opposite, right? They
Right.
want to argue. It's that mentality.
Right.
On the macro scale.
Right. Yeah, the Earth is round. No, it's not. It's flat.
Because it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Right. Eggs are round. No, they're not. They're square. No, they're not. I'm holding it in my hand. No, they're not, man. They're really square. It's an optical illusion. The lens on your eyeball makes all square things round. What? Whatever. Just, you know what I mean? They just want to argue.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, Alex is a smart guy. Fader fact. 2/3 of Britons lie about having read a book in order to seem smart. Yes. And the most commonest book that people lie about that they've read in Britain, take a guess, Alex.
George Orwell's 1984.
You are extra smart. 1984 by George Orwell. Have you ever lied about reading that book?
No, I haven't, because I had to in high school.
Okay. I did too, actually. Yeah, I read it in high school. Right. I went, you know what's funny? I read it in high school. It was required reading, number one. Number two, my friends were all reading it before the required reading part, smoking a lot of weed and reading the book and sitting around and talking about it. So I was excited. I wanted to read it because all of my friends had read it, and I was glad that we were going to study it, right? And then I went back as an adult. I've probably read it, I don't know. I must have read it at least a dozen times since high school. And every time that I read it, it freaks me out more than the previous time. Because as time moves along, right, it more and more is coming true. If you were reading the book in 1980, we still had the future in front of us. We didn't have everything that we have today, flat screen TVs and portable video and streaming this and traffic cams and cops wearing body cams, so it was still a dream. Like, we could eventually get here. All right. But as you read it more and more, dude was spot on the money, man. Now the book is frightening.
It's a documentary.
It is.
It's a documentary.
It's nonfiction. It's 100% nonfiction. All right. Now, today, all right, I'm going to get busy. Today, Yahoo Inc. warned everybody today that it had uncovered yet another massive cyber attack, saying that data from more than 1 billion user accounts was compromised in August 2013, making it the largest breach in history. The number of affected accounts was double the number implicated in a 2014 breach that the internet company disclosed in September. And you remember that. And blamed on hackers working on the behalf of the government. Now, news of that attack, which affected at least 500 million accounts, prompted Verizon, who is wanting to actually buy Yahoo for some reason, prompted Verizon to say back in October that it might withdraw from an agreement to buy Yahoo's core internet business for $4.83 billion. Now, Following the latest disclosure today, Verizon said, we will review the impact of this new development before reaching final conclusions. A Yahoo spokesman said that the company had been in communication with Verizon during its investigation into the breach and said that it is confident the incident will not affect the pending acquisition. Well, first thing that comes to mind is, are you kidding me? You're not going to pay $4.8 billion for a company that is worthless. Yahoo required all of its customers to reset their passwords, a stronger measure than it took after the previous breach was discovered, when it only recommended a password reset, not a forced reset. Yahoo also said today that it believes hackers responsible for the previous breach had also accessed the company's proprietary code to learn how to forge cookies that would allow hackers to access an account without a password. And I'm not making this up. Yahoo has really, really screwed up. They are not taking security seriously. It appears now that they never have. And what is really clear to me now is that nobody is going to trust them moving forward. Nobody. I wouldn't. I never had a Yahoo account, never had Yahoo Mail. I never really visited Yahoo, especially back in the day. I was an AOL guy like the rest of the world, and Yahoo was right there, and I get that. I just never went to Yahoo, not for news, not for the landing page, not for the search engine that they had back in the day. I just never did. But you know what? I definitely wouldn't trust them now. They'll never get the old days back. They're gone. I don't even know what. I think Yahoo, I just think that Verizon wants their account base, wants their user base. That's it. They know that Yahoo itself, that's what they're paying for, right? And if everything has been violated and stolen, what value is that? It's like purchasing an email list, and now it's worthless. Yahoo is now saying that the incident was likely distinct from the one it reported back in September. Do you understand what I'm saying? That it was different, it was a different type of attack, and it was a different person. It was distinct. It was not the same people. It was not the same attack. One was 500 million, one was $1 billion. The one in September stole, this is what they're saying, may have included names, email addresses, telephone numbers, dates of birth, hashed passwords, and in some cases, encrypted or unencrypted security questions and their answers. It's the most incredible thing ever. What is the value of Yahoo today? What's the value? The company is obviously acting like a lost ship at sea. They don't know what direction to go in. They don't know what to do. They've got a rudder that is just flapping back and forth. I mean, how lost? How lost are they? Well, check this out. Hours before it announced the breach today, executives with Google, Facebook, Amazon, everybody, all the players in the industry, all those tech companies met with Donald Trump in New York. Now, that's directly reflecting its has-been stature. Yahoo was not invited to the summit. That's how bad it is. How bad is it? If you're valuing yourself today, trying to, at $30 billion, you've got Verizon trying to buy you for $4.8 billion, and Donald Trump says you're not good enough. That's insane to me. It's just absolutely insane. Today, over on our Facebook page, if you go over to the radio page, somebody will get this posted up here on Twitter really quick. If you go over to our Facebook page, we posted a picture of the summit today at Trump Tower, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. That picture, take a look at who's sitting at that table. Jeff Bezos, everybody is there. Uber got invited. You know, everybody. I bet you. What's that, Alex? What's that bed and breakfast place? The Airbnb. The Airbnb guy was at that tech summit, but not Yahoo. I'm making it up. I jest, but not really. That's how bad it is. And if you think about it, you really want to show your relevancy, that you're still playing, that you're still in the game. And Trump didn't invite you. Yahoo was once the darling of the tech future. We all remember that. I'll never forget the documentary that was on public television with those three founders of Yahoo in their parents' garage and how they pulled it off. And now they all drive, fleets of Lamborghinis, as they should. And at its peak, it was valued at over $125 billion. I was looking at graphs right before the show today. There it is. There's the picture right there. Thank you for posting. You guys are so good. Thank you, Mark. All right. Now, look, that's Trump Tower. Look at that table. Right? Everybody is there. Pence is sitting at the table, but not Yahoo. Think about that for a second. Right? Look at Bezos. Bezos with his back to the window in the back. And Trump Jr. sitting over in the corner. Trump Jr. made it, and you didn't. Now, $125 billion, right? Back in 2000. Now the company is selling for, even if before today's breach would have been 4% of that at Verizon's valuation of their offer of $4.8 billion. And it's my guess it's going to be close to zero in the days ahead. It's officially over for Yahoo, and you heard it here first. Alex, jump on the mic and say hi to everybody.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Welcome to the bunker. It's dark in here. It's hot in here. It's steamy in here. But we're going to get through it. You good?
I'm great.
Do you remember when back in the day, let's go back to 2000, 1998, 97, right? That crazy period of the internet where if you had a website that was called Dog Shampoo R Us, you were worth $50 million, right? Okay, it was a grand time to be alive. What were you using for your internet provider back then? Were you a Yahoo guy, an AOL guy? What did you use?
AOL. I've never used Yahoo in my life.
Right. And then there was like Pac Bell had theirs too as well. I remember for a minute I had a pacbell.net email. I forget what it was called. It was based in Pasadena. But what were you again?
AOL.
AOL, like everybody else. Yeah. AOL, I'll admit that AOL had it together. They really had a certain amount of vision. And I remember going to like CNN.com, right? Or, heading off of AOL, because AOL had everything on the splash page, right? They had the news, they had their little, you could chat, you could see what friends you had that were logged in. It was a pretty good little starting landing page. But you had to venture outside of that to get onto the internet, right? That was pretty weird. You had to use them for a search engine. But when you went off of AOL, because AOL had like CNN inside of AOL that looked different. And then you went to the CNN page and it looked all grade school. It was just hyperlinks. You know what I mean? It was that old HTML format. But AOL had it together, man. It was like this doorway into another universe, right? AOL had it wrapped up. And I'll never forget when they bought Time Warner and they took down this sign on the Time Warner building, right, in Manhattan, and it said AOL Time Warner. And I was like, man, it's a whole new world. And AOL had it together. But you didn't do Yahoo back in the day?
No, well, in 97, I was still in school, and AOL was what we used in this one computer room that looked like straight out of 1972.
And this is why I'm asking. This is why I find it interesting. I was never impressed enough to understand Yahoo's status, right? But I just never knew anybody that was using Yahoo. I didn't. I never, I've hundreds of friends, thousands of, I've never had anybody come up, hey, man, did you check out Yahoo today? I don't ever remember that conversation ever taking place. But somehow they were in the game, and they had that crazy valuation of $125 billion. And if you're a founder, one of the three founders at its peak, $125 billion, I guess your stock, what were you sitting on personally with the VC that was involved? Probably, I don't know, $10 billion each. I'm guessing you and your two buddies, right? Pretty good. Today, that same stock, what are these guys worth now? Unless they cashed out at its peak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that it's kind of adjusted itself. They've fallen on their own sword with these security breaches, but who would have ever thought that Yahoo would be in this position today, right? Or AOL, too,
Yeah.
And when was the last time you went to AOL?
Years ago. I can't even remember, yeah.
I still have friends that have AOL email, right? It still comes in. It's like, dude, really? Yeah, man, I've been the same AOL address for, 20 years. But, and it looks like Yahoo is going to be no more. And all, really, of the one thing that should have been paramount, security, taking care of your customers and your customer's ID, right?
Especially today.
Right. The one thing that keeps the value of the company, like I said, I don't know what Verizon is buying. I don't know. Yahoo's done all of these crazy acquisitions and tried to get all of these different technological things going, streaming and so forth. Never really pulled it off. So what are you buying if you buy Yahoo today? You're buying the customers, right? And if you violated a billion of your loyals that have stuck it out, what is left? Nothing. What do you think the value, if it's $4.8 billion today, what do you think it's going to be in the coming weeks?
Nothing.
That's exactly it. That's exactly where I'm coming from. This is Fade to Black. Tonight in the studio, the one and only in the bunker, Alex Mistretta. We're going to be talking about his latest Bigfoot expedition that he did with Steve Murillo and Rick Sinnett. Where were they? Oh, wasn't Michael Oeming with you guys too?
Absolutely, and his wife, Taki Soma.
Okay, Taki. All right. Alex Mistretta, live in the bunker. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I'll be back with Alex Mistretta right after this short break. Stay with us, everybody.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. It's a holiday season with hope in the air. Things to look forward to and no time for despair. Health can be a challenge, and so can the mail. So Get the Tea wants to help you by giving you a sale. Buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month for free. No limit. That's buy 2 months of Super Tea and get 1 month free. That's a savings of $35. Where? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Scroll down on the front page and find the buy 2, get 1 free ad. Click it and save. Orders over $100 get free shipping. Send the gift of life. change tea at GetTheTea.com. We have many, many non-GMO organic supplements just waiting for you. This holiday season, enjoy health and Thanksgiving with GetTheTea.com. Want to call us? 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. GetTheTea.com is a proud sponsor of doing what's right. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station where the Fade-or-Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Matthew, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Live in the bunker tonight, Alex Mistretta is with us. He is one of the few full-time professional investigators in the field. He is the former MUFON Los Angeles Director of Investigations, founder of Phenomena Research, co-founder of the UFO and Paranormal Research Society, UPARS, right here in Los Angeles, and a former member of Big Cats in Britain. Following his studies in anthropology and psychology at the University of Illinois, the Illini, Fighting Illini, huh? Oh, no, that's Illinois State, right? We'll get to that in a second. In Chicago, Alex has devoted his life to research of the paranormal, UFOs, hidden history, and cryptozoology. Described as part Mulder and part Indiana Jones, Alex has also been featured on several television shows, including UFO Files and Legend Hunters. Tonight, we're going to talk about everything that he just finished on a Bigfoot expedition up in the Northwest United States. When and where and how it went down, we're going to find out right now. Alex, say hi to everybody.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Oh, I forgot to mention the Presence and thepresencebook.com. There you go.
Thank you.
All right, Alex. Now, full-time, before we get to Bigfoot, and it's pretty crazy, too, as well. We've got some images that we're going to be posting up in Twitter. And if you want to see the images, everybody, you got to go over to Twitter, hashtag F2B. They'll be popping up here in just a second. But a professional full-time investigator, that's a hard road, isn't it?
It sucks, if I'm going to be honest with you. You got to live in a studio apartment, drive a used car. It's basically what, if you dedicate your life to doing this stuff, that's what the price you got to pay.
Right. And how do you fund your research?
Partly I do some personal training in the morning, so that funds, that pays my bills, obviously, and does some funding. I have a GoFundMe page.
Right.
And Steve Merrill and UPARS is incredibly generous.
Right.
In, funding some of the expeditions.
Right. Well, that's one thing about you and Steve. Steve is a black belt in 15 things that I can't even pronounce, right? And you guys are both in shape. You're both big guys, and that's why I like going out with you, because coming out of a restaurant and it's dark outside, I'm safe.
We got your back.
And you do. One of the things that most impressed me about you back when we first met, and I know I've said this before on the show, but I really, first impressions mean everything, right? So the first time that I met you was, 10 years ago at a MUFON meeting, and I think we shook hands, but then you were over talking to a couple of people, and I was just watching you and listening to your conversation. And you had just gone somewhere, and you guys were talking about something, but you guys started talking about these UFO cases back and forth. And I'm listening, and the intelligence that was in the room and that what was coming out of you, it's something that's stuck with me to this day. That was the first time that I met you, and I realized that you knew what you were doing, you were serious about it, you were well-spoken, and you had this technical side to you as well. Of course, college and the way that you were brought up had everything to do with that, but you're the real deal. You're not somebody that surfs the internet and posts things. You do this full time. It's what you do. You go out and get it done.
Well, the field deserves it. I love the UFO world. It's a beautiful world if you really think about it. It's the most important subject on the planet. And I think we owe it to the people involved, people who have these experiences, to actually know what we're doing.
When now, every time that you're on the show, you whip out some crazy experience that is new to me.
Right.
Now, you and I and Rita and Steve and our little circle of friends, we've had countless dinners together, countless parties and get-togethers and late-night conversations, and we all share stories. And you've always got something incredible. And then you come on the show and you whip something else out. You're probably going to do it now with this next question. I, along with everybody else, had this crazy sighting at Contact in the Desert last year with this green orb that, lots of green orbs, but this one specific one was pretty incredible. And for you, Rita, yes. The answer is yes. Okay. I can't reach over and type. The answer is yes. For you, when we talk about these green orbs, what do you think is going on? And have you seen something like that?
Yeah, I saw, I wasn't with you that day, but I saw some of the videos similar, and Steve told me a lot about it. I had the same experience in Sedona. We were over one of the ranches down there has had a lot of activity similar to a Skinwalker, and hiked up there with a film crew about 15, 20 years ago.
Okay.
In my early days, early MUFON days. And we saw these two green orbs kind of fly above us, come together, separate, come together, and fly out. And they kind of disappeared about, I would say, 10 miles out.
And okay, so tell me more about it. How large were they? How far away were they? Did they come off of the ground? Where did they go to?
Well, I don't know how they came up because we were getting interviewed by the fireplace. Me and Tom Dongo
were
giving an interview, and all of a sudden, one of the I think the producer goes, "Hey, look, what's that?" And we noticed in the sky these two orbs. And I have to say they were maybe about a mile out at that point.
Right.
And they were obviously going further away from us because they're kind of getting smaller. But they're also getting brighter, and they were dimming and brighter. And they came together. At that point, I'm going to assume they're maybe about 5 miles out. Separated, came together again, and then they kind of disappeared about over kind of like the mountain.
And how did it change you? What do you think?
No, this was my third sighting by then.
Like that. And it's pretty confusing because you don't know if it's an airplane. Well, no, you start scratching things off the list, right? It's not an airplane. It's not a helicopter. It's not a rocket. I don't see wings. I don't see lights. I don't see smoke. I don't see, you're taking things off of the list. So then you start to get a little bit confused. Your brain doesn't know how to compute this. What did you think you were looking at? Us or them?
Initially, I thought it was, helicopters, and I wasn't quite seeing things right. We were like out in the middle of nowhere. I was, suggestive environment. And then I started looking at them, and when they came together, obviously, at that point, they're not helicopters.
Right.
And I know the history of that area, and, there's been a lot of activity, and I don't think those were ours.
What was the most interesting thing out of the 50 or 100 interesting things with our sighting at Contact was the military-grade lasers that everybody was pointing at these things, right? And the laser beam is like a half-inch round, right? It's like crazy, just it could reach the moon, I'm sure, right? So anyway, as I'm looking at this through night vision, and it's traveling really fast, but these lasers are crisscrossing the sky, and they're trying to. Isn't that interesting? See, I told you.
Yep.
Isn't that interesting? What is going on here? Yeah, that's bizarre. That's trippy. There's no reason for that to be going down. Right. Anyway, I'll reveal what's going on here in just a second, but that's pretty trippy. So, is that when the lasers would cross and accidentally bounce off of it, it would light it up, and I could see these like sparks because it was chrome-like, and so you would see the laser go off of the outside of the body just for a second as it crossed it, and it would illuminate it a little bit, and you could see its shape and just like verify what was going on. Absolutely incredible. And just to let everybody know, I've got weird stuff going on with. What is going on, man? That is just weird. I'm wondering, it's like somebody got control of the computers in here. Are we still live on this side? Yeah, we are. Wow. Okay, let's just move on while things transition here. Okay. Oh,
I shouldn't have mentioned Skinwalker.
Look at that.
Yep.
Okay, are we still live on this side? Okay. Just going to let everybody know, man, right here, as Alex and I are just having our little chat, everything here in the studio started to go haywire. And I'm talking about 3 different computers at the same time. And they slowly went crazy. Wow. Blue screen, everything. Oh, man, this is just crazy. Okay. Wow. That's bizarre. 1 screen, 2 screens, 3 screens, just like that.
Not the first time.
That was weird. Okay, we'll just have to wait. Okay, let me make sure that things are muted correctly as all this starts to fire back up. Where did you go for this most recent expedition?
Southern Washington, near almost at the border of Oregon.
Southern Washington, almost at the border of Oregon. Do you want to tell us what city or town?
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on the town. It's literally, it's like a few doors town. There's one place to eat. There's one gas station. I'm drawing a complete blank on the name of the town.
Right. Okay, right, fair enough. Yeah. So you guys flew, and did you fly into where?
Flew into Portland and then rented a car and then drove out, which is about a 2-hour drive at that point.
2-hour drive. Yeah. Okay. So safe to say in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's real close to James Gilliland's ranch, for those of you who know where that is. Yeah.
That's interesting right there. And what took you to this particular spot? Did you get a tip?
No, I've had my eye on it for a long time. There's certain spots in the country where I've had my eye on for a long period of time. This was one of them that I've always wanted to go to, because it's got a long history of Bigfoot sightings, and having the Gilliland Ranch next door gave us an opportunity to kind of, expound on our research and hit that spot too at night, which I thought was great.
Did you guys camp?
No, we had a little cabin, 3 and 8 guys in there.
Okay. And so you met up with Rick Sinnett.
Correct, on the first day.
On the first day, and Michael Oeming.
On the second day.
The comic book artist, and his wife, Taki.
Right.
Okay, so how many days did you guys spend up there total?
We spent 3 days up there.
Okay, and Rick was with you on which day?
Rick, the first day we flew in the afternoon, so it was basically just me, Steve, and the camera guy, Troy. And Rick came up late that night, and he was with us when we trekked out that very first morning.
Now, Rick is in Seattle.
Correct.
So he drove down from Seattle.
With his son.
Okay, which one?
He was his birthday, a 15-year-old.
Okay. Now, let me continue to fire up these computers here. This is just bizarre. I don't even know what, at least that's kicking in, sort of. Man, it's bizarre. Yeah, there's something going on. I don't know what it is. And this one just won't go. And isn't that weird? Okay. Well, we don't have to hit commercials for 15 minutes, but we'll see if this one... That was weird.
That was odd.
That was weird. Saw it. What was bizarre about it is we saw it kind of happen because it was doing it 1 screen at a time. It was weird.
Well, this was what was happening to Steve after we came back from Skinwalker Ranch. Everywhere he went, things were turning itself off. His computer, his phone, you name it.
Wow. Wow. Okay, so you get up there, right, and the first day, I want to be clear, is you're up there for 3 days. So the first day that you arrived, that's when Rick showed up?
No, first day, it was just me, Steve, and Troy, and we just kind of had some interviews with some of the locals trying to find some tips about where to go.
Okay, let's start there. Right. Troy is your cameraman.
Camera guy who likes to be called producer.
Okay.
I thought I'd throw that out, Troy, in case he's listening.
All right, Troy. So your producer's with you, Troy.
Yeah, Troy.
And you and Steve, and you go out and talk to the locals. And what did you find out?
At first, like every other expedition or research I've ever been to, first everybody's like, no, we haven't seen anything. And a little by little, they open up. And next thing you know, like, half the town has seen something.
Right.
So we got some tips about who's seen Bigfoot, who hasn't. Unfortunately, we weren't able to meet with any of the people that had bona fide sightings that day.
Right. What was the first tip?
First tip was a guy that actually worked. We were eating dinner. The guy actually worked at the gas station right there. Apparently had seen Bigfoot cross the road some years before, about 5 miles from where we were.
Second tip?
Second tip was about another guy in the woods that I'd seen. Just, kind of Bigfoot, that sort of thing. It's nothing major, but consistent amount of sightings nonetheless.
But not a big deal to them. You weren't surprising anybody while you guys were up there.
No, I mean, they looked at us a little weird because we're from LA and maybe they thought we would be a little abrasive asking about Bigfoot within like first 5 minutes in a restaurant.
Right.
So we got a little bit of attitude, but no, after and some people no, I've never seen Bigfoot. They're kind of they ridiculed it a little bit, but I've been doing this for a long time. And I can see that underneath that ridicule, there was definitely something to it they didn't want to share.
Did you find any park rangers?
No, we did not. We found a bear hunter, which...
Okay, that's interesting.
Which was interesting, which we'll get back to, I'm sure.
Okay. And with how many times have you had a Bigfoot experience in the past?
None. First time.
Nothing at a distance, nothing, right?
Nothing. I've been incredibly lucky from the UFO side and the ghost side to see a lot of things, but from the Bigfoot side, I struck out up to that point.
Well, that one ghost pic that you have in the forest, where is it, in France?
In France, yeah.
Oh man, still to this day, that's the real deal.
100%.
Man, that is the craziest. One of the craziest pictures I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I know I hype it up a lot, but I still think it's one of the best pictures ever taken. And,
There's no question. So you've had a lot of sightings. You've had a lot of black helicopter stuff. You've had stuff in your backyard, right? Beverly
absolutely.
Hills. I mean, all of these experiences, but never a Bigfoot sighting.
Never anything cryptozoology based. I've struck out every single trip I've ever been on.
Right. And you do a lot of research, man.
I've done some. I haven't gone as far out as I've wanted to because it's a little more expensive than ghost work. But
over the last year, I've been watching your ebb and flow of what you post and your pictures. Right. And you've been doing a lot of crypto stuff lately. A lot, right? And you had no idea in posting this that this experience was about to happen to you guys up in Washington.
No, I mean, obviously I love cryptozoology like I love the UFO world. I just started thinking this year that there's a sense of urgency. I mean, some of these species aren't going to be around forever.
Right.
And it drives me crazy thinking that they're going to disappear and I am never going to get a chance to prove it.
Right.
And I think, on an arrogant level, I think I'm really the guy to do it. I really think I'm physical enough that I can get to these places. I will go anywhere. And I'm not a complete idiot where I can rationalize what's real and what's not. So
right now, what is your general belief about Bigfoot? Do you think interdimensional, lost species, hiding from man? Is there a UFO connection in your research? What do you think is the basis of Bigfoot?
Okay, I don't think there's a UFO connection at all. Not. Except for, I think, in fact, I was going back and forth with Daryl Sims this week. We were talking about that aspect of the Bigfoot phenomena. And I was saying that I think maybe there's two separate phenomena going on. One's a bona fide Bigfoot, which to me is just a primate that came here from Asia.
Right. Okay.
And there, as you know the history, there's a lot of weird sightings in Pennsylvania in the 70s, especially of UFOs and Bigfoot related activity. And I think that's something completely different.
Okay.
Because if you look at the area where most Bigfoot sightings are, so Pacific Northwest, in Russia, Siberia, there's never been really any sightings of anything paranormal in those specific areas. It's usually in areas where I don't think it could support a real population of primates. So I think we're dealing with something else.
The Outlaw Pass had both.
Oh, maybe. Okay, there's some exceptions.
Yeah.
You're right.
And well, for me, why I think that there may be some type of interdimensional or UFO connection is I've got to be straight here. Haven't found a body.
Yeah, true.
Haven't found a corpse. Haven't found any bones. Haven't, when somebody says, well, when do you ever find a bear skeleton, or whenever do you find a chimpanzee skeleton? We just don't find. I understand that, but we still find some, right?
No, I mean, I agree with you. I still think it's a flesh and blood animal, but I think that excuse is not good enough. We need to come up, that excuse that you never find a bear, never find a chimpanzee, for me isn't good enough either.
No, it's not good enough.
I'll agree with you on that. But I do think that we found bones. We just haven't recognized it as Bigfoot bones.
Really?
There's a number of anomalous fossils, I think, in anthropology that I think, for example, like cow swamp in Australia even. Or,
right.
Or even the red deer people, which is has been labeled a new human species, but very robust from only 12,000 years ago.
Right.
Any of those could be related to Bigfoot, but it doesn't get labeled as Bigfoot because officially there's no such thing as Bigfoot.
Well, a femur is a femur.
Right, and there's plenty of robust femurs or robust hand bones in the fossil record.
Right.
That we haven't really, that we just place with a human species or, or Gigantopithecus or whatever.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that's not related to Bigfoot.
But, okay, and I'm going to continue being devil's advocate here. We may not find deer carcasses, right? Or bear carcasses, but we still run over them with cars, right?
Yeah.
We haven't done that with Bigfoot. Is it because Bigfoot is too smart? But people still get hit by cars. I don't understand that argument either.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not,
I've been hit by a car.
Yeah. If I want to be 100% honest, I don't have an answer for that. I'm not going to pretend I do like some other guys do.
Right.
But I think there's a certain level of, obviously intelligence with Bigfoot. And I think, and I think it's, most of them are so far out in the wild that,
I totally
there's
get
such
that.
big exceptions when we see them.
I totally get that they absolutely, not only are they smart, but they don't want to be around us.
Right.
So therefore, if there's a road, they're away from the road.
Right.
If there's they are going to where we are not. But Bigfoot would still need to cross a road once with the millions of cars that we have on the road and the things that are going on. Why hasn't that happened one time? Just once. And the argument on the other side of that, which is, no, man, they just don't want to be around us, man. They, they're smarter than that. They don't want to. Okay, but the odds are, that's like a lightning strike, right? The odds are it's going to happen sooner or later. Chickens get run over. Everything gets run over, right?
No, I agree with you. It's not good enough of an answer, and I don't have an answer for you, even though I 100% believe that it's an animal species. But no, it's a problem, and I'll acknowledge it.
Now, although I'm on the fence about Bigfoot, and I'm not too positive about it.
Yeah,
Maybe I'm leaning a little bit on the other side. But the thing is, I keep going back to that Patterson film.
Yeah.
I cannot, my eyeballs cannot debunk the Patterson film. And I've said this many times. If ufology had the Patterson film, it'd be a closed case, right? But we don't. We don't have the Patterson film in ufology. Bigfoot's got the friggin' Patterson film. What do you think about the Patterson film?
I think 95% real. The only thing that bugs me about the Patterson film is that Patterson himself had a drawing prior to making the film that looked suspiciously a lot like the subject in the film.
Right.
Now, obviously, a lot of it was based on what was expected, what Bigfoot looks like. So maybe he was just right in terms of his expectations.
Right.
But just because that exists, there's that small hint, in my mind. So I've never met Patterson. I met Bob once, and I think he appeared to me to be completely honest. And if there was a hoax, he wasn't in on it. And I think we've talked about this privately, but I was lucky enough to see a second-generation copy of the film.
Right.
And it looks so good, and you can really – everything about it, the way it moves and is very ape-like. And as you know, I have an anthropology degree, and I spent a lot of times observing gorillas and chimps in college.
Right.
And so much about it is just so right in terms of its movement and all that.
Right.
So I mean, up until someone tells me otherwise, I have to believe that it's real.
Yeah, because if you see somebody's playing the film right now, and the thing is, if you are going to try to imitate the stride and the walk and the gait of Bigfoot, you're going to look like somebody trying to imitate the stride and the gait and the walk. Right?
Absolutely.
That doesn't look like imitation. That looks like natural. It just looks, it looks completely real.
Actually, if you really study locomotion, it walks a lot more natural than man does.
That's what I'm trying to say.
It's a lot smoother.
Natural. It doesn't look faked or forced. You know what looks faked or forced? You go look at Stanley Kubrick, right? 2001. Look at the beginning of that. You've studied apes and you know what's going on.
Right.
He spent everything that he could and made these guys practice and the right thing. And you know what? It still looks like people in suits. No matter what. It's just obvious, right? That film does not look that way to me. It just doesn't. So that's my paradox.
Yeah.
I'm just stuck in this conundrum of I have my doubts. I want to believe, but I have my doubts. And then I look at the Patterson film. I'm like, well, there it is,
The thing, too, and I know this is not hard evidence, but there've been so many footprints and other, blood samples, things found that for all of it to be fake, you would have to spend $1 million a year of 1,000 workforce faking it left and right, trying to keep this mystery going, both here, in Nepal, in Tibet, whatever. It'd be like a workforce trying to keep this whole mythology going.
Now, when we're going to hit a break here, but we do have different species that have been sighted around the world on every continent, every elevation, right? All over the world. They're not specific to any region. And that was loud. Not specific to any region for thousands of years. I mean, this goes back forever, right? Do you think that they're all related, that is the species, that the Yeti is related to Sasquatch, as related to Bigfoot? The sightings that have been in Asia, they've been all over the place.
I think from Russia on through Asia, through North America and to South America, I think it's the same species. I do. If you start talking about like the Orang Pendek, which is the diminutive Bigfoot in Sumatra, I think we're doing something entirely different.
Right.
And some of the sightings in Africa, strangely enough, are vastly different. And here we go again with the electronics.
Oh, man, you've got to be kidding me. All right, let's hit a break right here. This is Fade to Black. We have Alex Mistretta live in the bunker tonight. He just got back from a Bigfoot expedition. And maybe if we're lucky, Rick Sinnett will be calling in. What do you think about that? Should we get Murillo to call in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Send him a text.
Yeah, exactly. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Alex Mistretta live in the bunker. More when we come back. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
How you doing? It's Jimmy here from Zipa. Today I wanted to tell you about my efforts to achieve global elimination of snoring. It all starts with respect. Respect for yourself and respect for others. Listen, you think you're being a nice guy or a nice girl by letting the guy or girl next to you sleep and snore every night. It's the ultimate disrespect to have that happen. You wake that person up and you tell them, go to Zipa.com now. ZYPPAH.com. We're not going to tolerate this, all right? Snoring is not okay. Someone next to you is snoring, you tell them to buy a Zipa. ZYPPAH.com. I know that you're listening to these snoring things and you're thinking, well, it don't apply to me. I don't have these problems. A lot of people are in denial, but it's true. Listen, if you're snoring, you got to stop it. What you got to do is get this fixed. Get a Zipa and change your life. ZYPPAH.com.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to jimmychurchradio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. Alex Mistretta, researcher, cryptozoologist, official designation, ufologist, is here live in the bunker with us tonight. He just got back from Washington, where he, Steve Murillo, Rick Sinnett, and Michael Avon Oming, the comic book artist, and his wife Taki, all got together for this little endeavor up in Washington, and some crazy things went down. And so Alex is here with me live in the studio tonight. And just joining us, and we're going to bring him in here in just a second, is our good friend, the one and only Rick Sinnett, who is key to this entire thing. And what happened and how it went down, we'll get to in just a second. I wanted to share this with everybody because I'm a big Segway guy. I'm going to bring in Alex here on this. Segway today introduced the 1S1. It's an electric unicycle that self-balances. And it's got a magnesium alloy frame. It's got customizable LEDs. And it runs on a 150 watt per hour lithium-ion batteries. Now, the 25-pound wheel, it's a wheel with 2 pedals, obviously, one for each foot, sticking out of the middle of the wheel. And it'll go 12.5 miles per hour, and it's got a 15-mile range. Its adjustable speed is controlled via Bluetooth through a dedicated Segway app. In other words, apparently you're going to control this because it doesn't have handles. It's a unicycle. So you're going to control this on your cell phone, right? Now, obviously, people with a certain skill set will be able to jump on this and ride it, but apparently it takes about an hour. With everybody else, you need really good health insurance to start learning how to ride this thing. Charging time is 4 hours for the 1S1, and they began offering it for pre-sale on Amazon last month. Check this, for $749. Now, just imagine it's about, I don't know, 14 inches, 16 inches in the diameter of the wheel. And it sits between your feet, and it's got 2 pedals, and it self-balances. It's really Alex, would you do one of these?
Honestly, probably not.
Were you a skateboarder?
Yeah, as a kid, yeah.
Yeah, so what would be the big deal for you?
You know, because I still have that skateboarding's cool, some of the other stuff's not as cool mentality, because I grew up.
I dig the Segways, man. You know, I've
never tried it, so I can't really say.
Okay, all right. Let's bring in our guy, Rick Sinnett. Rick, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing good because we're talking about you. That's the main thing. So,
well, it's nice to get the ego stroked once in a while.
Okay. Since you jumped in a little bit early, we're going to be forced into getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. But let me. You've got some time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Was this your first Bigfoot expedition?
This was my first intentional expedition.
Right. Now, what were your expectations going in?
To be honest, I always set my expectations pretty low and hope for the best because, I mean, there have been a lot of times that I've been skunked. So prepare for the best, but also, prepare for the worst type of a thing.
Right.
What I was thinking is, at most, we would probably get some really good stories once the locals up in Trout Lake stopped being so defensive,
right?
Of outsiders, because I mean it's a really small town, and it's pretty much mostly like campers and fishermen and stuff like that. I don't really know how much logging is down there because of the reservation,
right?
But it's a pretty small town. I mean if anybody's seen the TV show Twin Peaks, I mean, it's smaller than that.
Right.
I mean, don't blink, you'll miss it. So that's what I was expecting. And what we got was quite a bit more.
Okay. So
it was really nice.
Let me,
really good.
I know, totally. I'll get back to you in a second, Rick. Alex, the first night that you guys were there, because you met up with Rick the next day.
Right.
First night you guys were there, anything strange? Did you hear anything from the woods? Anything indicating that there could be something out there? Did you have a vibe?
No, absolutely nothing the first night. It was just about as slow and absolutely nothing was happening.
Rick, I muted my mic. Rick, how about you? When you got there that morning, did you cop a vibe? Did you hear anything strange? Let's don't talk about the future. I mean, when you first got there, anything that was going to tip off that there's something out there in the woods?
No, nothing out of the ordinary. When we got to the site, what made me think that we might very well be onto something was there was a forest fire the previous year, so there's a lot of new growth, and new growth always brings the animals, because there's a lot of plant life for deer and boar to eat, because there's more light available for those plants to grow until the trees catch back up. That was my indication that we would probably come across something, maybe not necessarily Bigfoot, but we'd definitely come across something which could potentially lead to Bigfoot, because here you have a food source that's available.
Right. And then there's the flip side. Alex, was it eerily quiet the night before?
Yeah, I mean, in that town, it's quiet anyway. But I'm the opposite of Rick in a sense where, and I think on some level this drives Steve crazy, is I'm convinced every time I go on any expedition or research trip that I'm going to see some. Convinced.
Right.
I've never have a doubt in my mind. It's like, I know it makes no sense. And then, when I don't, I get all disappointed and I get all like, aggro and then yell at Steve and whatever afterwards in a bad mood. But I really felt, because I do it every time, though, that I'm actually going to be successful.
And out there with, because you've been researching this for so long, with other researchers, is there like a Bigfoot season? Is there a good time of the year?
For me or Rick? Either one? Fall, spring.
Fall or spring for you?
Summer, yeah.
And how about you, Rick? What do you think?
That actually came across a theory that I came up with, and I was talking to Alex about it, and it kind of ties into an expedition that I want to do with Alex and my dad later on. Is the reason you don't really hear about more sightings during the winter is because there's less people out, and Bigfoot's not going to be hanging around, ski slope. So what I would like to do, and I'm kind of in the process of getting it thanks to my unnamed friend who has a really good employee discount at REI, I'm getting a bunch of snow gear. I mean, heavy duty camping in the snow gear.
Oh, that's
because
cool.
I'm wondering if Bigfoot might actually hibernate.
Oh, well, possibility. Yeah. Okay. What do you think about that, Alex?
I think it's possible. Also, the other thing Rick and I discussed is the huge cave system that goes for hundreds of miles in that area. So there's plenty of caves and underground tunnels that, the animals, Bigfoot, theoretically could spend the winter in, get away from the elements and all that, and no one would ever see it.
Hey, you guys are going to go into a cave?
We've talked about it, yeah. We'd like to.
That's the crazy part right there. That's where I back off. I'll stand outside of the cave and yell into you guys. You see anything down there?
It's only crazy if we don't come out.
Yeah, no. Okay. Do you have access to these caves? Is there public access?
Some of them, right? But a lot of them, I don't think anyone's really ever been into. It's literally hundreds of miles. So we'd need a guide.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, let's go to that morning. Rick, you arrive. Where do you guys meet up at?
Well, actually, I arrived really late that night. But in the morning, we all kind of woke up and collectively, got our stuff together. And after we were able to see straight, we went to straight to that diner. I forgot what it's called. I'm sorry about that. But started talking to a few folks, and and Alex is dead on right. When you have strangers, and obviously strangers, because this is the type of town where everybody knows everybody, and everybody knows everybody's business. It's not a town where you can keep secrets. And so, you have obvious strangers. You have, Steve and Alex, and you have, me and Brenna's celebrating his 16th birthday with a Bigfoot hunt.
Yeah, right.
And the cameraman Troy, and
producer Troy,
and,
producer.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Producer Troy.
Man of action. There we go.
Yeah.
But so you have them asking questions and really wanting to get people to open up, and they're going to fight it. But eventually, like Alex said, people kind of came around. So it was mostly in that small town right off in the morning, and I wasn't quite sure where we were going to head out. But when we head out to the reservation, I mean, we went deep into the woods in this on the reservation, and we saw, I think, what was it, one car going back the other way, and they're obviously hunters.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all we saw. Yeah.
Okay, I'll throw this one over to Alex. Why did you guys end up stopping where you stopped to start this?
Well, initially I had this whole general area picked out, right, from maps and stuff. And the reason we stopped at the particular spot is because, so we're driving and I'm looking out the window and I see a broken tree branch about I'd say about 6'5" level type of deal. And that's been associated priorly with other Bigfoot sightings, where the theory is that Bigfoot likes to bend trees for territorial purposes or whatever. And I thought it was kind of curious, so I thought I'd stop and check it out. And we stopped, and I think Rick came out of the car and I'm like, "Hey man, check this out." So obviously I didn't know this was, a bona fide Bigfoot related or anything, but that gave me the idea that I wanted to spend time in that spot. And then finally we found this access road and we parked and then we hiked out for a bit. And then we saw a few more of those type of trees that were bent, pretty thick trees that were bent recently, in fact, because it was still moist inside, at about, again, at the 6'2" to 6'5" level. And that's where we focused on this area.
Okay, I'm looking at Trout Lake now, and it's about 75 miles east of the Pacific Ocean. You're right. It's right south of Mount Adams, man. It's right there. Gilliland is right there. ECETI's right there. So I'm guessing, because I'm looking at, and it is heavily forested. You guys were east of Trout Lake?
No. Go up towards Mount Adams, and we were on the backside of that, near the res. Yeah,
you were on the backside?
Keep going. We went around because there's a lot, because nobody goes out there. I wanted to go to an area where people don't frequent that often.
Wait a minute here. You guys were on the north side of Mount Adams?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I can't tell you exactly where the spot was because, we...
Okay, so
sure,
that's, I'm looking at, there's another town up here. But anyway, there's nothing here. There's no roads. I mean, well, there's a couple, but there's basically nothing here. Wow.
There's fire roads.
Yeah,
that's
it.
And what's funny is here, Steve rented a Jeep, four-wheel drive Jeep. And because my van was having a few technical issues, I ended up borrowing my wife's Toyota Sienna, the typical soccer mom car, and I'm trying to navigate over these ruts. And I sent one of the pictures to Rita. It shows Steve walking away from the Jeep. And I said, and this is where my adventure ended. Because, I mean, just if Steve wasn't going to go over and through these ravines and stuff like that with a pretty heavy-duty four-wheel drive, there's no way, a two-wheel drive soccer mom van's going to make it. And that was like the turnaround part. But I mean, it was all fire roads. And I think they were technically maintained in the loosest sense of the word.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and to be honest with you, for 20 miles on the north side of Mount Adams on both sides, every single thing here is a fire road. And there's not even many of those, by the way. There's only a few.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are in I want to say this unpopulated area. There's no people around here. There's no traffic. There's certainly not a Pizza Hut or a McDonald's in sight for a long. I'm trying to think, man. There's Mount St. Helens. There are no cities. There's no towns. There's nothing. Trout Lake. I'm looking at Trout Lake, and it's a few houses. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, and a gas station.
Yeah, right. I didn't even see that. Okay, so now you guys you're on the north side of Mount Adams, and you guys have found a spot on a fire road, right?
Right.
Okay, and then you see this broken tree. Who sees the broken tree?
I did initially.
Okay, it's the broken tree. Everybody is up in Twitter. This has been posted. I've seen this picture before. And we actually used this, and thank you to everybody, by the way, for our new TV show. And this is featured in it, too, as well. And that's where I saw the picture for the first time. Where was this break at from the ground?
This was about 6'2", 6'3" level.
Really?
Yeah, because it was above my head. I stood right underneath it. I'm 6'1".
Were there any other trees around it that were broken?
No, not in that general area. No.
Okay.
We did see one tree that was knocked over, but I mean there was no way of really telling what knocked it over, and the markings on the bark was actually from boars sharpening their tusks.
Okay, I'm looking at the end of your trip here. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Rick. The Sienna is not going any further. No, I see. Yeah, look at that. That's about as remote as it gets.
I didn't think we were going to make it with the Jeep.
Yeah,
Steve can drive.
Rick is being kind when he says it's a maintained road. Look at the boulders.
Yeah.
Okay, so
well, that particular road and this expedition is what made me decide that I'm getting a different vehicle, and I'm getting a heavy-duty trail set Jeep.
Who took this picture of the cave?
I don't see it.
Okay.
If it's the one that Rita put up, that was probably for me.
Okay. But that is a cave, no doubt. Yeah, look how remote that is. Wow. Okay. So now you guys are on this, you guys spot this tree, and what happens next?
So we're looking around. I called Rick over and we're checking it out, and we noticed some deer tracks underneath the tree, and which leads into the clearing where Rick was saying there's a lot of new growth. So probably, the deer was looking for some food. So we're following the tracks, and then, there was that bent over tree, and there was one track there, but we determined that was a black bear track after we talked about it back and forth for a bit. And then I'm going to let Rick take over because he was the one that actually found the initial Bigfoot track.
Well, see, I don't want to get ahead of us yet.
Well,
okay.
it was right there in front.
Oh, it was right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I have to ask, what was the diameter of this tree?
Rick, do you remember?
Huh.
It looks.
It's thicker than it's a little bit thicker than like a soda can.
Okay, got you.
Easily thicker than a soda can.
Yeah, it looks bigger than that. I don't know, maybe 6 inches.
Yeah, at least. Yeah. I couldn't have broken. I mean, I couldn't have bent it like that.
Right. And the thing is, if it was wind or something else, there would be other trees that would be broken, right? There would be other stuff around it.
Well, here's the thing. Somebody pointed out, well, it was done by snow, but this was before the snow. Because occasionally what happens is, and this is after the winter, snow gets on the trees and it breaks the branches, and the branches sort of look like that because of the weight of the snow, right, at the top of the branch. But this was before there was any snow whatsoever, so we eliminated that, that process.
Right.
So there's nothing that could have, something bent it. Might not have been Bigfoot, but something had to grab it and,
You know, whenever I hear that statement, and I'm sure it happens in nature, but whenever I hear that statement, I think back, when have I ever seen snow break a tree? When have I have. You have not, Rick. Stop.
In my backyard.
Man, you got too many stories, Rick. Stop. But my point is, you know, I've been in 10 feet of snow. I've been through crazy winters. I've never seen snow break a tree. It's a really funny thing to hear.
If it makes you guys feel better, I showed some of my pictures to Dr. Meldrum and Cliff Brockman from Finding Bigfoot a couple of weeks ago. And even Meldrum said, oh, could this a snowbreak? And it's like, well, I'm not really going to take the time to explain more to somebody who's in the middle of, you know, signing autographs and stuff like that. This is probably a bad time to get in-depth conversation. But that the snowbreak theory is a very common go-to. And it was kind of a letdown, because it seems like if you show something and somebody else didn't find it, then they automatically just kind of downplay it.
Well,
your snowbreak is a common one, but it wasn't possible with the way this was, because if this was a snowbreak, we were up here about it was October 18th, right? So it was towards the beginning of October, or it was like October 18th, and it wouldn't have been snow. It just would not have been snow.
Look, let me clear that up right now. It was before the freaking snow.
Yeah,
that's all you got to say.
Yeah, and if you look at the tree is still green. So obviously, this was done fairly recently, because if it was during the last snow, you know, then that top part would have been brown and dead. Because I mean, you know, if anybody remembers, you know, middle school biology, you know, the sap and everything needs to flow through the tree to keep it alive. It's just like the circulatory system on a human. You cut off, you know, circulation to your arm, eventually your arm's going to fall off.
Right.
It's the same thing with a plant.
Did you guys see?
So that's what's frustrating.
Was there a lot of wildlife up there? I just got a question in from Brent, and he says, how would a creature like that get enough calories to survive?
Well, that's why I kind of have the hibernation theory.
Right. Well, that would make sense during the winter because there's nothing to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, in this area, in fact, even in my backyard, lots of you know, during the applicable season, there's a lot of like blackberries and stuff like that. In fact, in my neighborhood, we have wild rabbits, and we even have small packs of coyotes. And I live, you know, on the outskirts of a city.
So Alex said, right then, you guys see the tree. Right then is when you guys saw the footprints.
Correct. We're following the deer tracks out into a little bit of a clearing, and I was following Rick, and then Rick did his magic.
What happened, Rick?
Well, because this looked like a small game trail, and so I was kind of visualizing where the path of the game trail was before the fire, and kind of following along in that general direction. Because even though they don't have, you know, really a preset direction, animals, everything in nature is going to follow the path of least resistance.
Right.
You know, why walk up a hill and burn calories when calories are hard to find when you can walk around it?
Right.
So, you know, I'm kind of following the what the path would have been, and plus also we saw the deer prints. It's like, okay, well, let's see where the deer's going. And I was looking along the berm because there was like this fire road, and then it was just like the burnt down area of the woods. And so we started kind of spreading out, and I was kind of looking at the path and saw that it had kind of like an arc. So I was kind of following that. And on the berm, that's where I found the first print.
And what did you think when you saw it?
I thought, I'll be damned. I was fairly surprised, and it's like, wow, this is a little too easy. When's the other shoe going to drop?
And how many? Okay, well, the obvious questions, and you can't answer them all before the break. But how many footprints did you see?
We saw a total of, like, what was it, 3 or 4 potentially big footprints. And then also farther on down, I found a woman's footprints in like a Scheffler-style work boot.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, there's been like forestry people out there. And if you look at the footprints, they're radically different besides the fact that they're wearing shoes.
Right.
The potentially Bigfoot prints are, I don't know, 4 times the size. Because in this one picture that I sent Rita, that's Steve's size 13 hiking boot next to that print.
Okay, we're going to get that image up here in just a second. But what I find interesting here, as I hear you guys speak about this, do you think the Bigfoot was chasing the deer?
Yeah. I think it was definitely following at least game.
Yeah,
sure.
right?
Absolutely.
Right? They were, I find that, was it next to or behind or on top of the deer prints?
It looked like it was chasing it.
Right. But I mean, were they on top of each other or were they side by side?
Yeah.
Same path.
No, they were following.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's bizarre. And did they go along the game trail, or did the deer cut off the path and head into the trees?
Well, it looked like the deer tracks went off into where everything was burnt down.
Right, getting away from...
It was in the burn area.
Right.
So what probably was going on is trying to make that clearing to get back into its cover.
Now,
meanwhile, it has this big giant creature chasing it.
Now, I'm looking at, okay, everybody, if you want to see these Bigfoot prints, go to our Twitter feed right now. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Do that. Get that out of the way. Hashtag F2B. All right? And get that feed up so you can see what I'm looking at right here. Alex, you're looking at the same image I am. You've seen this many times. The first time that I saw this, first off, it's friggin' huge. That's Steve's size 13 shoe right there. And obviously, you can see a few things here. One, you can see the toes.
Right.
You can see the break in the arch. It's not a shoe, right? If you went
mid-tarsal break.
Right. Okay, come on, man. I'm not an anthropologist. I'm a doofus. Don't throw me off. But you can see that, right? You can see the arch in the foot or whatever you want to call it. And then from the toe to the heel, if that's Steve's size 13, it's about maybe not quite twice as big, but certainly 1.5 times that size, right?
Conservative estimate was 20 inches.
20 inches.
Maybe a little bit more.
It's huge. It's huge.
Oh, yeah.
And it's barefoot. And there are toes. And that is big. And the other thing, when I look, I need the audience, everybody needs to go and look at this series of shots. We've got 3 up here. That break that is there isn't a human break. That is like, you're the anthropologist.
It's actually vestigial traits.
Yes, there you go. That's the word I was looking for. I mean, it was right on the tip of my tongue. Yes.
Primitive man.
Primitive man. That's what I want.
Used to have that break because it heads back to when from apes actually have correctly have a very flexible foot because it has to do with holding on to trees like chimps.
Right. It's like hinged, right?
Well, it's just very flexible in
flexible.
mid-foot. We lost that ability for most part, but actually they ran a study in 2008 at Boston University, I think it was, and they found out that a small percentage of the population actually has that trait.
Really?
That still has, and it's vestigial. Obviously,
so what do they have to do? Wear Dr. Scholl's vestigial pads?
Yeah, no, nothing. It doesn't really affect them because we don't walk barefoot anymore.
Right.
But obviously for Bigfoot, it would serve another purpose. It walks in an environment that has a lot of debris. And
I had a friend in high school that walked like an ape. I think he had a vestigial break.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. Rick, this thing is huge, right? And you look down and you see this. What I know you said, you had a WTF moment, but did you think Bigfoot? This doesn't look like you running around in the mud when you're 6 years old making footprints, right? This is This is different. This is huge. It's wide. It's tall. And it's got that crazy break in the middle of it.
Yeah, my first reaction was definitely, what? No way. And I looked at it and I'm like, well, there's the outline of toes. So, I mean, it's definitely not like a typical woodland animal. And something that picture doesn't show accurately is that's actually kind of on a slight incline.
Okay, let's take a break. Rick, we've got to take a break right here. I'm so wrapped up into this, I went right past the network break. So let's do that right now. Our guest tonight, live in the bunker, Alex Mistretta. Live from Seattle, Rick Sinnett. Calling in a little bit will be the one and only Steve Murillo. This is Fade to Black. We'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
You get a Zeepa. You get a Zeepa, you hear me?
What's the name when you snort? It's Zeepa, Zeepa. It's the thing we're craving for. It's Zeepa, Zeepa. You can't sleep all night. Zeepa, Zeepa. And wake up feeling right. It's Zeepa, Zeepa. Makes me love my husband more, 'cause he no longer snores. Zeepa, Zeepa, it's Zeepa, Zeepa.
Zeepa's different than any other device because it actually works. A lot of these other devices, they just bring the jaw forward. That's it. However, the thing that makes Zeepa different, it stabilizes the tongue, basically, with this elastic band. But right here, Jimmy's telling you that this is a unique device. Go to Zeepa now, buy it, and stop the snoring. Get a Zeepa, ZYPPAH.com. Zeepa.com. That's ZYPPAH.com.
Oh, fall. My favorite time of year. Cooler temperatures and, well, let's be honest, layers. Lots and lots of layers. Look, I get it. We all have that favorite hoodie. Matter of fact, I've got a few favorite hoodies. You should wear yours. Enjoy it. I do. But I stay focused on my health year-round. And for me, I take Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. Nature's Youth RSF from nature'syouth.com. I eat right, control my portion sizes, still maintain a commitment to regular fitness, and I get plenty of rest, and I take Nature's Youth RSF. It's okay to cover up your beach body for a few months, but don't just forget about it. Nature's Youth understands exactly what it means to provide top-quality health products, and Nature's Youth customers not only improve their health, they know they're also providing their body with the right nourishment to maintain peak performance levels and fight the aging process. So layer up and get started today with Nature's Youth RSF. nature'syouth.com. Simple to use, even simpler to order. Go to nature'syouth.com. That's nature'syouth.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, live in the bunker, Alex Mistretta is here. Just got back from a Bigfoot expedition up in Washington. We have Rick Sinnett on hold. Of course, he spotted the tracks, and he's live with us also from Seattle. We just heard from Steve Murillo, and Steve said that it was date night. and that he couldn't make it in, and he didn't want to have Pat say, Steve, where are you going? And then Steve would have to say, I'll be right back, honey. I've got to call into Fade to Black. So we're going to give Steve a pass card, but at least I know that while he is with Pat right now, they are listening to Fade to Black. And what could be more romantic than that? Listen, you were just saying, Alex, during the break, I'm going to pull in Rick, too. Rick, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. You were just saying that during the break that you wanted to stop here, but Steve tried to talk you out of it?
Yeah, well, initially, so I've had this general areas picked out for a while, right? But what we hadn't planned on is we're actually filming this whole trip and trying to make like a demo perhaps and get some more funding and get a show so we can kind of go back and do more expeditions. So that, you kind of got to facilitate the camera guy. And Steve wanted to go to somewhere else, somewhere a little bit easier, closer to town. And I threw a hissy fit in the car, literally, and I screamed at Steve, and I'm like, no, I think your idea is stupid.
And Steve's a smart guy, right?
Yeah.
So he always wants to be the smartest guy in the room. And usually he wins, but he didn't win this time. And if he would have won, you guys would have been ass out. You would have had nothing.
Yeah, it would have gotten, plus, it could have gotten ugly. But Steve has enough respect for me that I think he gave in this time, and
right.
Steve's not a give-in type of guy.
No.
And, and I'm a pain in the ass, I'll admit it.
Right.
100%. But I was right.
Right.
Because, I worked at this. I had this, this general area picked out. I didn't want to go anywhere else. I realized that you need money, so you need to film. But,
that's right. But in the future, now, you can always go, Steve, listen to me. Remember the Bigfoot trip? Who was right and who was wrong? You've always got that against Steve from here on out.
That's true.
So think about it like that. Okay, Rick, who brought, you guys made cast. Who was smart enough to bring the plaster of Paris?
That was either Steve or Alex.
Okay. All right, Alex, was it you or Steve?
Yeah, I had it. Well, Steve and I picked it up together the day before.
Okay.
We were driving. I'm like, I got to pick up some cast.
Okay, so you actually brought water. You guys were ready to go, but I'm sure you may have been hoping for this, but you didn't actually expect to use the casting kit. But here you are. You guys now got to mix it up and do this. Have you ever done this before?
No, actually, no, because I never found a print before.
Right. Rick, do you know what you're doing when it comes to making a plaster cast of a Bigfoot print?
Not out in the middle of nowhere.
No, exactly.
Yeah, and also the other challenge that we had with that cast is there was a lot of debris, and we couldn't really pick out the debris without destroying the integrity of the print itself.
Yeah, can't do it.
So we just we just kind of had to cross our fingers, hope for the best, and just deal with twigs and branches.
Sure. No, I wouldn't have. Yeah, no, you did the right thing. You don't want to disturb the area, and you don't want to give somebody the out in the future going, dude, man, this isn't, the integrity has been compromised, right? So you don't want to do that. I'm glad that you didn't. So you guys poured. Yeah. Did you get, how many casts did you guys do?
2.
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5, really.
Yeah. You guys want to explain that? You ran out of plaster?
Both that and the second print wasn't clear enough that so we basically just got the toes.
Right. Okay.
For the second, and we gave it to Brindis, in fact, that he took it home for a school project.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, his biology
Okay,
his biology teacher gave him extra credit for writing a report and all that. So we all decided, hey, it's his 16th birthday and he's going to get extra credit at school.
All right.
Give the cast to your teacher, man.
Okay, so you guys, I'm just curious here. So you guys get the cast. Oh, this is a good picture here from Rita. Okay. Look at the size of that footprint. Holy crap. I would love for somebody to say, I mean, you look at that and I'm trying to picture what that is connected to. That's a big boy or girl. All right. That's a lot of weight. If Steve's a big guy, right? 6'2" or more, right? He's a big guy, 200 something pounds.
Correct. If
he put all his weight on that shoe, he would not make an imprint in that dirt.
Not half of that.
Right, right. And then look at that. Now, I would love for somebody to say that is a bear print or it's a something print, because then how big is the bear? 40 feet
I've had
long.
people say that.
Right. Just
Yeah.
like,
But hey,
stop.
either way we win because we got a giant freaking bear.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Either way I win, man.
Yeah. 5-ton bear, 10,000 pounds, because there would be 4 feet attached to that bear, right? It's just like crazy. Anyway, looking at this is another picture. Everybody just go back to the feed, go back to, follow us on Twitter at Church Radio, go back to the feed, hashtag F2B, and look at that shot. Now, is that's Steve's foot, right? Am I?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
That is a size 13 shoe.
Yeah, he's got the biggest foot out of all of us.
That is crazy. That is insane to me. That is absolutely insane. And the toes. Wow, that is crazy. So this is what you guys took a print of. What is that? Is that a gallon of plaster of Paris?
I don't even know how much was in there, Rick. Do you know?
After it was mixed with some water, maybe about a gallon.
Yeah, I would think to fill that. Yeah. All right, so.
But the other challenge we had was we had bad weather starting to come in, which meant that we could have got a seriously messed up casting.
Right. And
so, I mean, we had a few things going against us.
Now, I've got to ask the obvious here, guys. That's a fresh print. You guys thinking about this guy looking at you from the trees? Have you thought? Did you guys even think about that, or were you just excited about the print? This thing could still be close
Alex
by?
Brought that up.
Right.
Alex got a feeling from a ridgeline.
Really?
We wanted. Yeah, Alex and I wanted. Alex was like, "Dude, we should go out there." I'm like, "I agree," and Steve's like, "Well, let's keep looking in this general area."
Steve. All right. So, did you feel like you were being watched?
Not specifically, not 100%, but it therefore occurred to me it was a possibility because once you get to where all the trees start, that it's so thick, and I wanted, I was really, there was this one particular spot for whatever reason I wanted to gravitate towards. It was kind of like almost pulling me, which is kind of like I work like that a lot in the field. I just kind of go where I feel,
Right. This is so exciting, man. Looking at this, it looks fresh. And with all the weather that is going on up there, the precipitation that goes down at night and so forth, things degrade really, really quickly. You don't see the footprints of anything around, for weeks on end. They disappear. And they also get retrampled by other stuff and by your foot. You guys could have stepped on this and messed it up too as well if you weren't watching what you were doing. But you captured a completely fresh, humongo print. And that says to me that whatever made that print was not that far away.
No, it wasn't.
And could maybe even lived close by. That's something to think about. Okay, so now you guys get this print. How long did it take to dry? And obviously you guys beat the rain, right? The bad weather coming in?
Yeah, we left it out for an hour maybe, Rick? An hour and a half?
Yeah, because we were, excuse me, I'm sorry. We were spread out combing the ground. I mean, like the Army guys, recovering Roswell wreckage. I mean, that's what we were like. We were going every inch that we could. And unfortunately, because of all the debris from burnt logs and trees that have fallen over, there was quite a bit that any creature could have walked across and we'd never see a print.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I just sent Rita a little bit better of a picture of Steve's foot next to the footprint, and that'll give everybody a better idea of how massive this print is.
Yeah, Dan Lopez just sent in a bear paw print, 2 different prints. Yeah, it's two different things. Okay, now, so that's now, looking at this cast, once you guys pull this up, now you can actually see what you're dealing with here, right?
Right.
What did you think? Now it looks like a foot.
Yeah, I mean, we made the decision about an hour and a half to take it out, and I'm like, we got to take it out now. If it rains, we're going to lose it all. So it broke. You could see it kind of broke where the mid-tarsal break was. Because actually now it's kind of cast in 2.
Right.
But yeah, we got it out, and it really, that's when it kind of hits you, and you really look at the cast, and you can kind of see that, you know, you've got a foot, and I mean, I was pretty stoked. I wanted to hug it.
Right.
You know?
Rick still sleeps with it. I'm telling you right now, it's between him and his wife.
He hasn't sent it to me yet, so I don't know what he's doing with it.
I'm telling you, he's sleeping with it.
I'll be honest. As soon as I got back to work, it all hit the fan, and I've been just trying to keep up with work stuff, getting distracted. But no, it's getting to you.
No worries.
Because it's going to be in time for Christmas.
Yeah, I got to show it to the ladies.
Yeah, that's. Hey, you want to see my Bigfoot print? and yeah, looking at the second one too as well. I'm looking at Steve take a picture of this. That was interesting too as well. I wish you guys would have gotten a print of that. A cast of that second one too as well.
It was tough though. The next two prints, there's a lot more debris in there.
Right.
And I don't know how well it would have come out anyway. They were like, the toes were pretty. You could really see the toes in the next two prints. But the problem is there's so much debris. I mean, we would have. I don't know if that would have. Rick, do you think that we could have got a cast out of that? I doubt it.
We could have gotten a cast and pulled out a bunch of pine needles and twigs.
Yeah.
Well,
because the way this dirt was, I was too afraid of having it kind of cave in.
Yeah,
you start pulling stuff out.
Now the size. I'm trying to. What do you think the width is? I mean, everybody wants to know the scale, and putting a size 13 shoe next to it to me makes a lot of sense.
Right.
But when what's the word you want to use? Humongous, ginormous. How would you describe this when it comes to scale of a human foot?
I mean, it's off the scale for a human foot. So let's go with ginormous. That's a cool word.
Yeah, right. Rick, how about you?
Custom expensive shoes.
That actually popped into my mind. I have seen, what was it, man? I held it in my hand, some basketball player's shoe, and it was like a size 22, right?
Yeah. Like a Charles Barkley or something like that?
A Shaq or something, and it's like, and you think about the size of that foot, right? And it goes off the charts of what you're used to. I've got a size 9 foot. I got a little tiny foot. And this is easily twice or three times the size in length, but then you have everything that goes along with it anatomically. You've got the leg, you've got the muscles that have to support that. You've got, you know what I mean? Everything after that just increases in scale.
Right.
So what are you thinking about? You're the anthropology guy. What do you think was the height of this creature?
Close to 8
foot?
8 foot. Yeah, absolutely.
Rick, is that what you're picturing in your mind too, as well?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
In fact,
what are you doing?
Went upstairs to measure the cast, and it is 6.5 inches wide at the ball of the foot. At the ball of
the foot. Okay, behind the big toe.
Yeah.
6.5. 6.5.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess my foot is 3 inches,
maybe. Yeah,
3.5 inches. I'm just to let everybody know, I'm wearing socks. I have sandals on with socks, so I'm looking at my bare foot basically. Yeah, I would say 3.5 inches. 4 inches is too much. So add 2 inches to that in width. That is huge, man. That is just
because I wear a size 12, and at the ball of my feet is like 4 inches.
All right. What do you guys think you found? What do you think you found? Do you think there is the possibility of it being a human foot, that somebody somehow was running around out there barefoot that happened to have, size 24 feet and was barefoot running out there?
Absolutely not.
No question.
Absolutely. No question. Absolutely not. Because we found human footprints in the area, not at that particular exact location, but we did find human footprints in the general vicinity from the forest rangers and everything. There's no way. I mean, and they weren't barefoot, but still, just the size alone. And unless they were recruiting basketball players to work the woods,
right?
There's no way.
And then you still got to take into account the weight for it to, sink that much into the ground. We got to be talking at least 400 pounds, and that's minimum.
Well, dude, I'm 265,
right?
And I couldn't make that deep of an impact.
Yeah, you wouldn't even go half in. So 400, 500 at least, and that's super conservative.
Okay, now let's go to the extreme. Somebody wearing Bigfoot shoes, Bigfoot feet, right, and trying to hoax this,
right,
and go out in a known Bigfoot area and hoax this and run around. What was the gait? Were you able to measure the stride between the footprints?
No, because the other footprints were too far off.
Oh, too far off.
There's too much debris in between. We couldn't, couldn't tell.
Okay. And because of the depth, would you say that it would be impossible to hoax? There's no way to get that kind of depth without the weight?
Yeah, without added weight on. I mean, I suppose you can get a really big guy and, carry a lot of weight to hoax it. But then, I mean, what's the point? It's not like I had that particular trail picked out. I had a general area picked out. So there was no way for somebody to know that we were going there unless they're using remote viewing or,
Rick, what was your belief in Bigfoot before this trip?
Well, I grew up in NorCal, so I always believed in Bigfoot. I've heard sounds, but this is the first time I've ever seen visual evidence.
Well, very few people have. So you're in both of you guys now are in a unique boys club here, and you know that. I mean, you're in rarefied air. But now what is your belief?
My belief has always been the same. It's just, thanks to Alex inviting me out and Steve and you, Pars, now I actually have something to visually put to what I've heard.
Did you guys go back into town? Did you make any reports? Did you track down a ranger? Did you guys talk to the police? Did you go back to that diner?
Yeah, well, there's only two places to eat for 20 miles around. So yeah, we went back, but no, we didn't really talk about what we found a whole lot. We didn't really have a whole lot of time. We went out to except for the bear hunter guy. What was his name, Rick?
I'm blanking on that awesome guy. For some reason, I want to say Doug, but I'm probably completely wrong.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So we met up with him at one restaurant a little further out to town that night where the service was really rude. But besides that, so we showed him the print and all that because I wanted to get his opinion because, he hunts bears. Like, not just locally. I think he's been in Alaska. He goes out by himself. He's like, he's a wild dude, And he looked at it. He's like, yeah, I don't know what that is. Even the first print, I'm like, you could tell, you can kind of tell that might be a black bear because you might have the claws there. The one that, I already had told you wasn't a Bigfoot print. But
I'm looking at Dan out in Australia just sent us an illustration of a 12-foot, 11-foot Sasquatch, a 10-foot Alaskan brown bear, a human, and a mountain gorilla, right? Okay, mountain gorilla is going to be about 4.5 to 5 feet tall, right? Very small. There's a 6-foot human, 6'2". Then there's a 10-foot Alaskan brown bear here, and I'm looking at the feet. Okay, I can get that.
Right.
But are there 10-foot Alaskan brown bears in Washington?
No, only black bears. They're smaller.
And how big does a black bear get?
Well,
I have no idea.
Let's say a print. We're talking average, maybe 7-8 inches, and that's a pretty big black bear.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So, but even the suggestion that is a bear print.
We compare them. I mean, Sean was the name of the hunter. He showed us bear prints that he had in the area, and we compared it. It looks nothing like our print.
Yeah, a bear print is more like a hand print.
A little bit. And you can see the claws, and it's a little rounder, but anyway.
Right. It's like this as opposed to a foot.
Now, it looks like a Bigfoot print if the second foot walks where the first foot of the bear walked. So it looks like it's one continual long print.
Right.
And that can fool people in that sense. But here that was not the case because we have the mid-tarsal break.
Right.
Which eliminates, the double step.
And no claws.
Correct.
No claws. Very interesting. Rick, man.
We actually have a print. Or we have a photo of a bear print that we found, and it's maybe the size of like a teacup saucer, and you can see where the claws hit the ground very distinctly.
Rick, so what do you think, man? What do you think? You're a Bigfoot hunter now.
I'm still an IT guy to pay my bills. So.
I mean, this is so impressive, and I'm so excited for you guys to have found this, and totally luck, right place at the right time. Thank goodness Steve Murillo was outvoted. But you guys really have found something I think is really, really extraordinary, and I think it's beyond question as to what it is. And for me, for a guy that's on the fence, I know that Jeffrey Meldrum sent me a ton of pictures, right? And he was even going to send me a plaster cast. He never did. He's told me like 3 times it's coming. But anyway, even with all of that, he's not my friend. He's not somebody that I know, like the two of you. I know you guys, and I know Steve, and I'm just excited that this has actually happened. I don't know what to make of it. It looks like what it is. It looks like a size 24 human, upright walking creature's footprint, right? In the middle of the woods. It's absolutely incredible. All right. Hey, Rick, before I let you go, I just wanted to say thank you and happy holidays to you and the family, and you guys be well, and I can't wait to see you again. You going to come down to Contact in the Desert?
I'm going to try. It depends on what I got on my plate with work.
Right.
I'm the only guy there, so we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping, I'm going to do my best, but no guarantees. But one thing that we are going to do, and I was talking to Alex about this earlier, is we are doing another expedition, but rather than just a couple of days, we're looking at a whole week of just focused searching.
Yeah, and you guys got to get some cameras up there. I mean, a camera guy is one thing, but getting some stationary stuff that you guys can set up and just leave, I think would be really cool too as well. But I think you guys found an area. Look, James Gilliland's been talking about this forever, right? And it's right there. Yeah. And it's beyond coincidence. You were going to say something, Alan?
Yeah, in fact, they had a sighting on the ranch. We interviewed the gentleman that claimed, at least, to have had a Bigfoot sighting on Gilliland Ranch.
Well, I've talked to so many people that have seen stuff up at his ranch. I mean, dozens, right? All right, Rick, thank you so much, my brother. Be safe and give my best to the family.
You too, man. Thanks, and happy holidays, everybody. And Alex, I'll talk to you later, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rick.
Congratulations, Rick. We'll talk to you soon. This is Fade to Black. We have Alex Mistretta live in the studio. I'm going to open up the phone lines now. 323-825-5045. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
You've probably heard about all the great benefits of goat milk soap, but did you know some companies take shortcuts? At Old New England Soap, we make our organic goat's milk soap using 36% goat's milk. That's 17% more than most others. Our bars are larger, so they last longer, producing lots of lather packed with vitamins. And our soap is a natural moisturizer that smooths dry and damaged skin. Order online at oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. oldnesoap.com.
Water-based soaps on supermarket shelves use harsh chemical acids to break down dead skin cells. And that's just not good for you. At Old New England Soap, our soaps are made without chemical ingredients, contain no alcohol or petroleum products, and use 85% organic materials and carry the USDA's organic certification. Try some today. Go to oldnesoap.com. That's oldnesoap.com. oldnesoap.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have sciatica, then you know all about the crippling pain that travels from your lower back down your leg when a spasm occurs. It's brutal. In fact, it's enough to take your breath away. Dr. Zhang's Sciatica Nerve Cream helps relieve persistent, shooting pains associated with the sciatic nerve in the lower back and legs. This natural, homeopathic cream contains the most potent ingredients to soothe even the most excruciating pain associated with sciatica. Stop the pain now. Ask for Dr. Zhang's Sciatica Nerve Cream at your local health food store or go online to trasknutrition.com.
Would you like relief from muscle pain, headaches, and discomfort to sleep better, have more energy during the day, and just feel naturally amazing? Fibromalic can help. Its blend of malic acid and magnesium can provide pain relief and comfort for those who experience fibromyalgia. It helps your body absorb more oxygen, and it works quickly for a significant reduction in pain within 48 hours, all without a prescription. Ask for Fibromalic at health and vitamin shops or shop fibromalic.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Alex Mistretta is live in the bunker with us. Oh, here comes Rita. Something about, you guys want a picture of my feet in sandals? Okay, hold on. I'll do it. Here, Alex. There you go. Take a picture of my feet. Okay, I'll keep talking. We've, if you're on hold, stay right there. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. What, you want this? Oh, man, this is just embarrassing. Okay, 323-825-5045. Alex just got back from a Bigfoot expedition up in Washington with Steve Murillo, and I want to thank Rick Sinnett for coming in because Rick actually found the footprints. And they were right next to a broken tree. They had stopped on this fire road. This was north of Mount Adams in the middle of nowhere. And that's what they did. And luck happened. Well, you made an interesting comment to me, Alex, during the break, which was, you know, you've had your paranormal sightings. You've been lucky, UFO, Men in Black, helicopters, everything. And now this. It's like the trifecta for you.
Yeah, and I want more, but yeah, I've been incredibly fortunate.
What would you want to see next?
I want a freaking dinosaur.
Yeah, okay, there you go. All right, let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Alex Mistretta.
Hi, Alex. This is Cliff in Houston. Hey, I have a question with an idea. Obviously, these Bigfoot are very, very intelligent because they've been elusive for all this many years. Has anybody tried looking for them with an infrared drone, looking up high and spotting down on them? Because I think walking around, we make way too much noise, and whenever we do happen to stumble across one, they immediately flee. So a hello, how are you meeting's not going to happen. But maybe from a drone that has infrared film in its camera or something, they may be able to get a decent picture like that. Because I doubt if they look up that often. They're probably looking around, and they live underground. And my other thought was, but the footprint that you found, could you tell if the pads of the feet had huge cracks in it, like if they were used to walking on rocks, or were they used to walking on soft like mud or sand or dirt caves, something like that. These creatures obviously exist, and they don't want to come out and make themselves known.
Well, to answer your second question first, we couldn't tell.
Sure.
Because there's too much debris still. But to answer your first question, yeah, certainly I agree with you, and I thought about it in terms of getting a drone out there, at least for me personally, and UPARs, whoever, it's a budget concern. Now, it's been used before by some of these shows, but they have a bigger budget, obviously, than we do. And now drones are getting cheaper. So in the future, I'm certainly going to use one. But, some of these shows I've used it, they haven't gone far not out into the wilderness and, I think, to actually really capture something. So it's only a matter of time, I think. But absolutely, from the air is the way to go. But you still got to find an area that's not too covered with trees because you can't, otherwise you're not going to be able to see through. Years ago, I was on my way to Bluff Creek, and I was in a little propeller plane, pretty close to the trees. And I'm looking down, and I'm like, you can't see past. All you see is green. It's like a wall of green. So you really have to find a good spot and get kind of lucky just as well.
What was
Maybe one other observation?
Yeah.
Is there a particular time of the month when these creatures are spotted? Meaning, is the moon out or is the moon not out? Is there some phase or something that they're interested in bringing to the surface, which may help them, whatever they're looking for, or maybe they're just out scouting around or nosing around or whatever.
Well,
that might help in on your search.
Well, yeah, there's a correlation with berries. When berries, like in the spring, first come out, there tends to be an increase in Bigfoot sightings. But that's also based on the fact that more people are out in the spring. But one of the reasons that we went in October at this particular spot is because they've had more sightings between the month of September and November than any other time of the year in that area.
Well, good luck with your search. And please, if you ever do anything, if you guys ever really come across one of these things, don't hurt it. Be as friendly to it as absolutely possible. And if it doesn't want you to come near it, stay away. Respect its privacy.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for the phone call. Great phone call. Thank you so much. Okay, 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. Alex Mistretta is live with us right here in the bunker. Now, when you see TV shows, especially the Bigfoot stuff, that the ending to the show, right? But now you've done this.
Yeah.
What comes into your mind now? Are they doing it wrong? Is there something else that can be done? These guys are out there with night vision and sensors and heat.
Yeah.
They have everything going for them, but yet we know the ending to the show.
Right.
I don't think I've seen a show where they've had a Bigfoot footprint and a casting, something definitive like this. What do you think about that?
I think two things. First of all, they're making so much noise in those shows that I think they're having the opposite effect. Like every show you see somebody knocking on a tree.
Right.
Right. And but in the primate world, knocking on a tree means this is my territory, back off, stay away. So I think first of all, that has the opposite effect.
Interesting.
And second of all, like the gentleman was just saying, these animals probably, they're being so elusive because they're used to staying out of the way. And they can hear us coming like a mile away. They're gone. All these shows film at night for most part because it's more exciting. You're going to see less at night. And honestly, they don't, you've done TV shows, I've done TV shows. You don't go that far out when you're investigating because you can't film a show and really go to a good spot just because unless you have a really, really big budget and a lot of time, it's not going to happen. So I think with the Bigfoot shows, they're not going deep enough in the forest.
And not everybody brings up the knocking, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear anything like that when you were out there? Anything trying to mark its territory?
No. It's hard to tell because there's so many trees that crack in the forest. If you spend any time in the forest, you'll hear a lot of noises, a lot of cracking.
Right.
And a lot of coyotes. It doesn't mean, it's Bigfoot.
And what about these Bigfoot recordings, of the yelling and screaming and so forth? Do you think that's Bigfoot or do you think that's...
I think some of those are awfully intriguing, like the sounds from the Sierras.
Right.
Yeah, I think that one might be legitimate.
Right.
Some of them, like on these shows, they push. Some of them are coyotes. I don't care what anybody says, because they got to make it a little bit exciting.
Right.
But there's definitely some calls that I've heard that are pretty interesting because you can't compare it to anything known.
I've often thought that if you are going out to hunt a Bigfoot, you're not going to see a Bigfoot. No matter where you are, they know exactly where you are,
Absolutely.
and they are taking 2 steps farther away from you for every step that you take, right?
Absolutely.
They're not going to stop and turn around and come back and stand behind a tree and look at you. Am I wrong in looking at it like that?
No, there are 2 things there. Okay, first of all, I'm really believe that you have to go deep and stay. You have to let the environment get used to you. You don't go walking around. Don't go looking for it. Find a good spot and just hang out.
Right.
Near where there's water and all that, and make as little noise, and don't shower, the whole deal. The other thing too is, I've gone through a lot of sightings reports, and I've looked at Native American lore and all that, and there's definitely a difference in behavior. Apparently, closer to man, that further out in the forest. And I think that has to do with they're a lot more careful when they're closer to civilization because they realize this is not their environment. You go further out in the woods, first of all, they become a lot more aggressive because it's a territorial thing, and I think you really sort of, maybe if you want to see it, you're going to have to piss it off and take your chances.
Well, and the other thing is, don't go out there with the hopes of filming Bigfoot. I mean, that would be great, but that would be an accident. That would not, you can't force that. Go out and look for evidence. That's what you want. You want footprints. Maybe a skeleton, that's what you're looking for that. You're not looking to capture Bigfoot on film. If you capture Bigfoot on film, it's because you're driving down the road or and a mile off in the distance, there's one running away from you. That would make sense to me. But there's not going to be one looking at you from behind a tree, making noise, banging on the tree, and you're going to capture this guy on night vision. I just don't see that as being reality.
The problem, too, is I think these animals have a huge range. And, in fact, where we were at, I think that's part of their path. And they walk, maybe they come here for food or whatever, but I don't think they actually live in that area. They may hang out there for a particular length of time, but I think they're out much further out in the forest.
Now, what do you think? We touched upon this earlier, and I kind of want to swing back around to this. The interdimensionality side of this, that quite possibly the reason why we have never gone to the next step when it comes to finding or seeing Bigfoot is that they are slipping in and out of this dimension.
Yeah, again, I don't like to, not to sound like Arthur C. Clarke, but I don't like to explain a mystery by another mystery. And, I keep an open mind to anything because we don't really know, but I just haven't seen any evidence personally and enough data to head in that direction. I don't think we need necessarily to get away from just, the primate theory just yet. Now, ultimately, if that doesn't work and the data heads into a more paranormal situation, then okay. I know Nick Redfern has that theory.
Right.
And I talked once with him about it, but I personally don't think we're there yet. We don't need to take that step, and we're not at that threshold just yet.
What about some of this famous footage that is popped up from around the world? I did see about a year ago some Yeti footage on the side of a mountain, and it looked like that's exactly what it was. A couple of white, large Yeti, Sasquatch, hair covered, upright, walking across the face of a mountain through the snow. Did you see that video footage?
Yeah, I've seen there's a few videos like that. I'm not sure. Are you talking about the Josh Gates video?
I'm not sure if it's Josh. Oh.
Because he had a pretty good one.
Right. It might have been Josh Gates.
Yeah, and that one was pretty good. I mean, that guy does good work.
Yes, he does. I like Josh. I think Josh is straight up.
100%.
Yeah.
I don't know him personally.
Right.
But if there's a guy that I want finding Bigfoot and it's not me.
Right.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he's a straight up dude.
It's absolutely.
Man, lucky too, man. Great career, man. Lucky. But he's Nat Geo, right? I think isn't
he was doing a travel channel too.
Yeah, travel channel.
He gets around, yeah.
Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Alex Mistretta.
Hello, Alex and Jimmy. This is Jim from New York.
Hey, Jim from New York. How you doing?
Hey. Great. I wanted to say, Alex, I really respect what you're doing because I've always wanted to do what you're doing. I'm an experiencer, and I don't think I have the money or the power to investigate UFOs and more, difficult things. But I like to go camping and stuff like that, and it would be fun, even dangerous, maybe. But
well, what did you think of the footprints? Did you see them?
Yeah, I mean they look real to me.
Yeah, they're definitely real. I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, it's a picture too. I mean, I wasn't there, but they look, genuine. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, they really do. And you're in New York. Do you guys have many Bigfoot sightings out there?
Yeah, I'm close. Well, about 10 miles away from the Pennsylvania border, and they have a lot of sightings. And I think they go back and forth and such.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. And hey, Jim, thank you for the phone call, my brother.
Well, I just wanted to.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Did you ever try maybe? I mean, this is a paranormal talk show, so bringing in like a psychic medium or kind of like someone that could like has telepathy or could like meditate on trying to communicate and bring them in towards you, kind of thing.
Oh, that's interesting. What do you think about that, Alex?
No, never tried it. I did think, maybe doing like a remote viewer type of thing, trying to pinpoint, I just never kind of got around or being able to coordinate that, that idea. But yeah, sure. I mean,
Yeah, telepathy. That's a good one, Jim. Thank you for that, man.
Yeah. Okay, and just to let you know, they're real because I met one.
Really? When?
Yeah. Well, I called your show, Jimmy, last year and told you.
Okay. And
but, I mean, I will make a real short. He didn't know what I was. I didn't know what he was.
Right.
And when I'm trying to get home, late at night, it's very dark, very foggy, and it was on all of its fours like a dog, and I'm about 100 feet away, so I don't want to walk by this thing because I don't know. There's no wolves in the area or coyotes. Well, there are now, but not then. 1972, and I thought it was a big dog, and its head was bobbing up and down, so I thought it was eating roadkill. But then, after thinking about it hundreds of times over the decades, where he was on my neighbor's property, he was scoping out. They had a new shed with chickens and rabbits they were raising, and I think they had dogs that they brought in at night, every night, because they didn't want, their dogs to get loose or hurt or whatever. But so I think he was checking out for human activity or dogs, and he was poking his head up and down. There was a row of, trees there. There was a light behind him, and so the light was shining on the backside of its body, so I just saw a silhouette, but he did. So I waited for him to leave, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm like, I'm getting tired. It's after midnight. I got to go back to my tent. About a tenth of a mile down the road, so I started throwing rocks at it. And the first one I might have missed, I don't know, the second one, and it bobbed its head up, and then I threw a bigger rock, the third one, and it stood up, and that's when I thought it was a bear. Well, and I was 14, so I never heard of Bigfoot, so I don't. Anyway, it started walking toward me so quickly that within like 3 seconds, it was halfway to me. Well, at that time, I started walking closer, so I was getting, I wasn't 100 feet away at that time, but probably like 60 feet away, and then this big waft of fog went in between us, and I'm like, thank God it must have left. Well, the fog parted, and there he was, like 20 feet in front of me, coming right at me quickly. And I just instinctively put my head down in submission, like, I'm dead, this is it.
Right.
There's no way out of this. It's so fast, It took less than 10 seconds to go 60 feet walking.
So what'd you do?
Well, I put my head down because I really thought I was dead. There was no way out of this.
Right.
And I was just shaking, and I waited about 30 seconds, and I'm like, oh, he must have left. And I just opened my eyes. I didn't raise my head up, and then I saw the legs and the feet, and they're 2 feet away from my feet. Gigantic legs, hairy legs. And I just said, oh my God, what am I getting into? What is this? What's going on? And so I just raised my head up slowly, about halfway up, and I saw the torso and the chest, And I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I'm not getting to get out of this. And nothing happened after about 20 seconds. So I got my courage up and I said, well, I got to see what this is, So I rose my head up and looked him right in the eyes. I mean, I could reach out and poke him in the eyes. That's how close he was. And his eyes were black, and he didn't stink. A lot of people say that, but yes, when it gets hot, people stink too. Or if they're feeding and they get organ juices on them from eating some animal, maybe they stink from that, or they fart or whatever. But they don't always stink, I think.
So he just lets you go.
Well, I looked him right in the eyes, and I seen his eyes moving back and forth, and he's scanning me, and I'm looking at him like, oh my! I looked at him like with this sheepish look, as if to say, I'm sorry for throwing rocks at you.
Right.
When you give somebody a sheepish look, like,
And he got
that, and I apologize.
And he understood.
Right, and then I just lowered my head right back down and closed my eyes, and then I heard him leave to my right towards the woods, and I just heard 3 big footsteps, and he was into the woods, crashing through trees already. When I ran, Jimmy, my legs were going so fast I could not feel my legs.
Well, of course.
My heart was just going da da.
Right.
And I couldn't breathe, and nobody would believe me. I mean, I told my brothers, and I didn't know what to call it until I honestly my parents got Reader's Digest, and like few years later, it was in the Reader's Digest. I'm like, that's what it was. Because what I told my brothers was a big hairy man that was gigantic. I mean, to me, it looked like it weighed about 450 pounds. And it could have taken 2 of the biggest football players and tied them into a pretzel.
Right. Well, at least it ended good, and you were
right.
young.
Oh, yeah. And the other thing, too, is, and some people agree with me, when you see these shows, when you go into their territory, any animal can get, defensive or...
Well, that's
some violent. But if they're in human territory, well,
that's exactly it. That's Jim. That's exactly the point. And by the way, thank you for the phone call. And thank you for sharing that with us again. But just a great story and great experience, man. Thank you so much.
They're looking for food. They're being nomadic, so they're not technically they're in human territory, so they're not going to be violent. I don't think.
Well, it's this. That's what I'm trying to say. It goes both ways. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for the phone call, Jim.
Okay. Yep.
Thank
you, Jimmy.
Take care. That's exactly the point, though. We're venturing into their territory, and they know when they're venturing into our territory. They're cognizant of that fact.
Well, that's what I was saying earlier. That shows certain cognitive development, which, is obviously shows a lot of intelligence because they can differentiate between what's their environment and what's ours, and they adjust their behavior accordingly, I think.
Right. Well, he brought up a really good point. They didn't stink.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
I hear those stories all the time. They don't. Apparently, the smell's not reported in every sighting. Now, I'm not sure if it has to do. Perhaps it's a defense mechanism that they've developed. After so many million years of evolution, when it can smell. Or I don't know. I mean, I don't really have an answer for you, but it doesn't. Sometimes they stink. Sometimes they don't. Now that said, some of the sightings in some areas, like Florida, for example, they tend to smell a lot worse than they do. That's why it's called a skunk ape.
Right.
Then,
if you think about it, horses don't stink.
Yeah.
Right. Unless your dog is really foul. Right. Dogs, cats, animals in general, they take care of themselves. Right. They don't stink. They're not unclean. Right. To give them a stench like, I guess everybody expects them to be some offensive, foul-smelling thing, but I don't think apes and chimpanzees or whatever. Pick something out. A kangaroo is going to stink, right? Right? Why would they stink? Why would there be some foul, sulfur, crazy, demonic odor about a Bigfoot? No, I think that they would Just be like any other animal.
Well, it could depend on the environment. If they spend more time in swamps, for example, environment, they might smell a little bit because of dampness and all that. They might have feces on them occasionally. Like
alligators live in a swamp. Right. Do they stink?
They don't have fur.
Right, but they sleep in some really gnarly water. But anyway, back to my point. I don't know of an animal offensively smelling to me. A skunk does, but they're doing something to do that.
On purpose, yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? Okay. All right. Phone lines are open. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. Has there been a lot of stories of contact like Jim's of Bigfoot approaching humans? I think that's pretty rare.
There's a handful. In fact, in the Mount St. Helen, which is pretty close to where we were, in 1924 is a famous story of these miners that were in a cabin. And 1924, now this is before anybody knew anything about Bigfoot. And so it's late at night, and they started hearing this noise on the cabin wall. And at first, they kind of ignore it. And then finally they go outside, and something's throwing rocks at the cabin. And they look up on the ridge, and they see a series of, I think it was 3 or 4 Bigfoots. They called them devil creatures or whatever back in those days. And they started coming closer. In fact, the guys run back in the cabin, grab a gun, and he shoots one of them and kills it. And the other ones kind of ran away.
Right.
So that was one story that was, pretty close contact. Somebody in 1924, again, not in that area, was supposedly claimed to have been captured and taken to the cave where he was with a family. But obviously, it's hard to prove.
Right. Well, Mark Kovar, one of our producers here, he told me this story when his parents had a piece of property, and I want to say Montana, right? Dakota, North Dakota, somewhere up there. And they would go up there, and they had a family house, and there was a big chunk of property that was up there. And if you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to you. It'll probably be after the break, but just stay right there. And so they're up there fishing one summer, and there was a creek or a river that went through this property. And it's a couple of miles from the house. And he goes up, and I think he's like fly fishing or something. And he would do this alone because he was an only child, number one. But number two, the family had this big chunk of land, and there wasn't neighbors or anything like that. But he would hike out, and walk over to this creek and fish. And he's fishing, and this rock, hits him in the back. And behind him is this hill, a wall-like hill, and it's 20 feet tall. And he thinks that the pebble or the rock dislodged and just rolled down the hill and bounced up and hit him in the back. And so he continues fishing. Boom, he gets hit by another rock. And he's kind of tripping, but he knows there's nobody else around him. And so he pulls his fly fishing stuff out of the water, goes up the creek 50 yards into another spot, and he throws the line in the water, and then boom, like a basketball-size 50-pound rock lands next to him. Kaplack! And he turns around and looks, and up on the top of the hill, he sees a Bigfoot face looking at him. And as he looks and sees what it is, it ducks, and now he's got to get up the hill. He's 14, gets up the hill and to go see it, and nothing there.
Right.
Didn't, it was gone. But there you go, and he's not a Bigfoot guy, but it's a crazy story, so there you go. We got to hit a break right here. Let's do that. Alex Mistretta is live right here in the bunker. If you're on hold, stay right there. We'll get to your calls next, right after the break. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. It's a Bigfoot kind of night here. I'm leaning the other way now, Alex. I'm slowly leaning, right? So I'm at 51%.
One of my big goals in life is to get you to go all the way.
I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back. More with Alex Mistretta and your phone calls next.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I had gout in both my knees, and it's gone.
Well, I'm pretty stupid. I should have ordered it 15 years ago. Best thing I ever got in my. It's the most effective product that I've ever bought in my life.
He had eczema on his hand, and it cracked for years. He did anything from doctor, every cream, everything. And 3 months on the veggies and fruit, it was gone.
They're just awesome. They keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. Everything is just perfect.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code TSL.
Would odors, mold, and mildew describe your basement or crawl space? It doesn't have to be that way. Transform them into a fresh, healthy, usable one with the technologically advanced Wave Moisture Control Units. The computerized operation maximizes moisture control and also expels harmful radon, combustion gases, and numerous other pollutants. Dehumidifiers are old technology that do nothing for air quality and waste energy. Wave units are intelligent, self-monitoring, do not need maintenance, and will save you hundreds in electricity. Wave units are still running effectively over 15 years. They've been tested and installed in public and military housing and by property managers nationwide. Buy a unit now, and if your home is not fresher and drier, you can return it for a full refund for up to 12 months. What have you got to lose? Call now. 1-888-618-WAVE. 1-888-618-WAVE. Or visit mydryhome.com. That's mydryhome.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go back, Lee Tappy.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
I wish you guys could be sitting here with Alex and I listening to the conversation that we just had during the break. Fascinating. Why didn't we do it during the show? Oh, well, I'll try to relive it right now. This is Fade to Black. Alex Mistretta is here with us live in the bunker. And let's go to the phones. You've been on hold for a while. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Say hi to Alex. Who's calling?
Hey, Alex and Jimmy. This is Corey. How's it going?
Hey, Corey. How you doing? Oh, sorry about that,
Doing
Alex.
great. I'm loving the show. Hey, I don't specifically have a Bigfoot story, but I'm a hunter and outdoorsman, and I think I had a little bit to add maybe to what you all were talking about. And I do definitely believe that they're out there. I mean, there was a species up to 10 or 12,000 years ago that we know about called Gigantopithecus that was roaming this earth. So we know that Bigfoot exists. We just, where are they today, and are they offspring of that particular species. But I think, when you're out in the woods and many animals use their tarsal glands, and that could be part of the smell to either attract a mate or mark a territory or cover their own scent. So that could be part of the smell that, people associate with Bigfoot. I don't know. That's just kind of my own theory.
Well, Corey, you're a hunter, right? You've been out there.
Absolutely.
You know what's going on. What do you think when what went through your mind when you saw Alex's pictures tonight?
Oh, absolutely, 100%. They're 100%, some sort of upright, walking, part, man or part Bigfoot.
Right.
And we don't have humans that have a foot that is that wide and that long, and that would be walking around barefoot in a territory like that with temperatures and climate of that nature. So.
Yeah, so
100%.
You're out. You're with your buddies. You got your hunting gear, right? And you stumble across footprints like this. What goes through your mind?
Oh, I think the hair would stand up on the back of your neck. And
exactly.
I would definitely be feeling like that animal is nearby, because those were fresh and they're smarter. You're in their living room, They're way smarter than we were, and your guest said, they're 1 or 2 steps ahead of you. They're probably watching you somewhere or know that you're there at all times, and you're never going to catch up with them.
Yeah, Corey, you bring up a really good point. The same thing that I thought when I saw them. They look fresh. I mean, they look fresh. Like whatever made those prints are close by, man. They could be potentially looking at you. I did that.
Yeah.
You must have been thinking about that, Alex.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like, you look down and you're like, okay, wait a minute. Something is very close to us.
Yeah, I was ready.
Well, to me, they look like they were within 24 to 36 hours old.
Oh, I was thinking more like 24 to 36 minutes.
Sooner.
Yeah, exactly. Corey, thank you for the phone call, my brother. Don't be a stranger.
Absolutely.
Thanks
again for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Corey.
Thank you.
And I like the way he says that they cover up their scents. Right?
Well, it makes sense, right? They want to stay hidden.
Right. Do you guys feel the significance of this?
No.
Because I think it's right there with the Mulder stuff and other discoveries like this, and they're rare. This is not a common occurrence.
Right, yeah.
But do you feel the significance of this? I think it's pretty substantial.
I don't, in a sense, where the problem, I think, especially today, there's so much fake stuff out there that some, good evidence, which I think is just good evidence, kind of gets lost among that, and it kind of loses its significance because of all the noise.
What's the next step for you guys with this footprint? What are you guys going to do with it?
I don't know yet. I mean, so far, I think we got just next expedition. I'm using it to trying to get money, really, to be able to go back out.
Right.
If I'm going to be 100% honest.
What about, sure, but what about going to UCLA with this and going into one of their departments or USC right here in our backyard and having somebody there from the department look at it?
Yeah, I thought about that, but I know how that ends.
What's that?
I thought about that, but I know how that's going to end. I was an anthropology student. I tried writing papers on Bigfoot back in the day. And shut down. They don't even want to hear about it.
Your teachers?
Yeah, I mean, I was I had a 4.0 perfect, grade point in anthropology, and they still wouldn't let me. I was approved for 2 independent studies where I could do whatever I wanted,
right?
Except for Bigfoot.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Is there your professors? Did they ever mention Bigfoot?
Yeah, we talked about it. I went in his office once.
No, I mean to the class, part of the curriculum.
Yeah, well, no, one time he laughed about it, saying, in people's imagination, Bigfoot's, Paranthropus, which was a primitive human, is still alive, and then they call it Bigfoot, and he started laughing.
Well, what year was that?
Well, this was in the 90s.
No, what year? I mean, 90 or 99?
No, this had to be 95, I want to say.
Okay, 95. I'm only bringing that up because the big wave of Bigfoot, 1970, 71, right? I mean, Bigfoot sightings all over the place, all the time, everybody. But everybody was also getting exercised and exorcisms. I mean, we've had our waves of stuff go across the country. UFO stuff, Travis Walton, boom. Bo and Bob out in Louisiana, right? The two guys in the swamp. Okay, so I get that. And bringing up Bigfoot in the 70s when so many people were laughing about it and the sightings were going everywhere, I could get that. But in 1995, I would have thought that the climate would have changed a little bit. But you're saying that it didn't. And your professors weren't taking it serious at all.
No, I mean, they let me write 2 papers and do 2 studies on zombies in Haiti, but not Bigfoot.
Zombies are real, I guess.
Well, I mean, they were in a sense.
If you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. But as soon as I brought up zombie, they didn't know anything about the pharmacology aspect of it. But they were right away. They're like, yeah, sure, do whatever you want, but not Bigfoot.
Interesting. And it's the same thing with UFOs. I mean, it's the same thing. And when it goes to all of the history of Egypt or bringing up anything that goes off the what's the word, the orthodox
accepted dogma.
Yeah, accepted dogma. Exactly. Let's see here. Alex, please contact Mitchell Townsend in Washington. There you go. Where can I go to get the chaga drops? I don't know what you're talking about there, Eric. I'm just reading cabin story into my intro into Bigfoot as a kid, and then I saw Boggy Creek. What does Alex think of Boggy Creek?
One of the best spots even today.
Where is Boggy Creek again? Refresh my memory.
It's near that Texas, Oklahoma, that whole border right there. Texarkana, I think's the name.
That movie
Oklahoma. Technically, it's Oklahoma, I think.
That movie scared the crap out of me.
Oh, yeah, I love that. It was one of the things that got me started, in fact, interested in Bigfoot as a kid. But it's based on, obviously, some real sightings, and I think that area today is still fantastic.
Boggy Creek is a real place?
Absolutely.
I thought that was just a horror flick.
No, I mean, it's developed a little bit since, so I think whatever was out there has kind of moved on a little deeper in the woods. But it's a real place with real sightings. It still happen today.
Are you saying that was based on...
Absolutely.
Really?
Based on some real events, yeah.
That movie scared the crap out of me. Wow. Okay. Cats in the jungle have a bit of pong to them. Smelled them. Oh, that's interesting. I guess pong means odor.
I suppose.
Pong. Let's see. Jimmy's feet could be scary. Yes, they are. Catalina wants to know, had the dirt from the cast been analyzed? Yes. Okay, so what about laboratory stuff on this?
No, honestly, I think unless you have something a little more tangible, meaning firsthand, like hair sample, blood sample, it's not really worth it.
What did you find? Well, you would have said.
Yeah, no.
You didn't find any hair, nothing on the trees, nothing scraped, nothing like that?
No, we found the only scrape we found. We got a little bit excited for about 30 seconds and realized it was a boar.
Somebody wants Les Stroud. The Les Stroud Bigfoot shows. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I'm half and half on it. I think he's had some legitimate close encounters, I think, but the footage with the puppet looking thing, I mean, I'm sorry, you can kiss my ass, but that thing's fake. I don't care what anybody says.
Who was, yeah, speaking of that, who was that guy in Texas that had the Bigfoot on ice that was taking it around the country?
Hansen. You mean the Minnesota Iceman?
Yeah, the Minnesota Iceman.
Now, I still think that's a real body originally, which was replaced.
Why? There have been so many legitimate people, friends, people that I respect that go, dude, that actually is a real story. That was a real body in the ice. You had to see it. You had to look at how it was and the hair and everything. And I have to take a step back and go, holy crap, are you being serious with me? I take serious. Well, so now you're scaring me here.
Well, obviously this was before my time, but Bernard Uvelman, who studied the body for like 3 days, and I mean that guy was had a PhD, he was a zoologist, I think, but he was 100% convinced that it was a real body. He said he can smell the putrefaction, he could see the hair. I have to take that guy's account for what it was. Now, and then the FBI got involved. The Smithsonian got involved. Hansen got a little nervous and even, said that he was going to replace the body with a fake one. He told Hooverman and Ivan Sanderson that. And then eventually, the supposed real body disappeared. Most of the pictures that are out on the internet are fakes.
Have you seen the real pictures? I'm looking at tons of them here.
I've seen the real pictures in color.
And
it was published in an out-of-print book that I got in Europe years ago, which I don't have anymore. And it's pretty damn impressive. Obviously I wasn't there, and the possibility exists that Hooverman was fooled. But he was trained, in this field, and I have to take his word for it for now, They looked at it for 3 straight days, him and Sanderson, who went to Cambridge, so he wasn't an idiot either.
Is this one of the pictures that you have seen?
That's one of the fakes.
Oh, that's one of the fakes?
Yeah.
Okay. And what about this series here?
That was much later in time. Those are definitely fakes.
Yeah, that doesn't look quite right to me.
Yeah.
Let me know if we find a real one here. That's the same one with the same.
Those are fake.
Yeah.
90% of them are fake that out on the internet, unfortunately.
Right. If anybody's got a picture of the real Minnesota Iceman that you think is real.
They did a translation of the book recently. I think some of the pictures are in there. A book that's out on Amazon.
Interesting. So
it's
you
black and white.
Okay, I can't find anything here on the net. Everything is the same series of pictures. But what's that, Alex?
There's the book though, right there in gray, all the way to your left.
Right here.
Yeah, I think the pictures are in that book. So if anybody's interested, it's a translation of the original. I read the original in French, but.
Okay. Yeah. Nothing here. I'm going to go deep into that. So
but anyway.
Okay, so Bernard Hovelman's book. All right, I'm going. Wow. Okay, see, that picture is not. Oh man, I want it.
Yeah, see, that should be the real picture, I think.
Why isn't that on the net? Interesting.
It's there. I found it, but it's hard to find. Yeah, most of the people just put up the fake one because they don't really. Everybody assumes the whole story was fake, but not necessarily so.
Now, I want to jump into a couple of other things here that I want to pick your brain on. Now, and check this out. And you're a smart guy, and I kind of saved this stuff for you. But there's a couple of interesting news things, and we only have about 10 minutes left. So let me get into this. Listen to this, and the audience too as well. The chief executive of Qatar's sovereign wealth fund yesterday pledged $10 billion to assist the United States to fix its roads and highways and its alien infrastructure. Do you think that's a real story?
Probably not.
It is.
Is it for real?
That's a real story. Sheikh Abdullah bin Mohammed bin Saud Al Thani, head of the Qatar Investment Authority and chairman of the International Telecommunications Company, Ooredoo, sent a message to U.S. officials, including Charles Rivkin, Assistant Secretary of State for Economic and Business Affairs, saying he would allocate the money from this country's massive sovereign wealth fund. Qatar's sovereign wealth fund is estimated to be at $335 billion based on surpluses. Last September, they announced that he would give the United States $35 billion to strengthen, listen to this, Alex, existing relationships and promote new partnerships. $35 billion, a gift. Now, I don't know. I may be wrong here, but it sounds like a bribe. Why would it doesn't even, no strings attached. Here's $35 billion just to strengthen relationships.
Yeah, no, there's more to this.
There's more to that.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Now, this was the press release from our State Department. And what they didn't reveal was the new $10 billion, if it was in addition to the 35 that was already promised, so $45 billion, or was this $10 billion part of the $35 billion that they said they would hand out last month? Pretty crazy. And is that a bribe? What country does that? I mean, we do it to smaller countries, but it's because we're buying influence.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah,
right?
Either he wants something or he's got something on us. Or, I mean, there's a much bigger story.
How do we take a handout for our roads? It's kind of weird.
It's also humiliating for the United States.
Yeah, exactly.
On some level. Which,
exactly.
Plays into it.
Well, I'm going to get to the tricorder stuff here in a second, but I've got to get to this. This is one of the most amazing stories today. Apple CEO Tim Cook, Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg. I talked about this at the start of the show. Alphabet CEO Larry Page, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, IBM CEO Ginny Rometty, Intel CEO Brian Krzanich, Tesla's Elon Musk, and Amazon's Jeff Bezos sat down today with Donald Trump to have a round table meeting. And I said yesterday when Bill Gates went and sat down with Trump, yesterday at Trump Tower, which was after a phone call that Gates had with Trump. What does Trump say to Gates to hang in a conversation? He doesn't own a computer. He doesn't know what Windows 95 is, let alone Windows 10. He doesn't know what email is. He doesn't send email. Obviously, he can tweet. We know that he can tweet. I think that's the extent of his tech knowledge, right? But Bill Gates showed up yesterday at Trump Tower. Bill Gates. When does Bill Gates respond to anybody? He doesn't have to.
Right.
He doesn't have to, right? So what was said to him to influence him enough to go to Trump Tower and have a sit down with Trump? What was that conversation? It's fascinating. And then today, every tech giant minus Yahoo, right? Yahoo wasn't at the table, but they sat down with Trump today. What do you think they were talking about?
I don't know, but those are the people that run the world today.
That's what I'm saying, right?
So it's, yeah. I mean, I have no idea, but I'm going to assume it's something big that's going to affect everybody else on some level.
Trump mentioned after the meeting, he said that he thanked them for their incredible innovation and promised to do anything that we can do to help the industry. He went on to tell all of the leaders to call him personally and directly if they need anything.
Yeah, well, you don't need a meeting for that. You send an email.
Right. That he doesn't.
Something else was discussed, apparently.
And, Trump has never been hacked because he doesn't send email, right? So he doesn't have email to hack. But is he using a private email server right now? Or and his team, do they now have government email as president-elect? Right. What do you think is going on?
I have no idea. But
yeah,
it's weird.
Yeah, it is. And I'm just wondering what's going to happen in the future with tech innovation if he gets hacked. And also the whole subject, the ridicule that he sent out, Hillary's way, deserved. I get that. I would have done the same thing if I was in his shoes. But now he is in that position. He's got to go now from the private sector to the public sector. And he's going to have to go from private email, right, to government email. And he's got to make that crossover.
It's not so easy.
And it also, no, it's not. And there's enough hackers out there that are hacking government servers. Government servers, to me, are the most unsafe. You want to stay private, man. We know how to, keep security going.
Right.
The last thing that is secure is a government email server. So anyway, the invitation for the get-together was sent last week by Reince Priebus, Trump's chief of staff, Jared Kushner, right, his son-in-law,
right.
Trump's transition team advisor, Peter Thiel, who is a Silicon Valley investor, entrepreneur, and co-founder of PayPal, and a Facebook board member. This is what is surrounding Trump right now. Pretty interesting little situation going on at Trump Tower.
This is all the people that control everything we see, we hear, how we communicate, what we believe. If you want to go, that conspiracy route.
And then there's this. Are you ready? Scientists fearing that crucial data related to climate change might be erased. They're fearing that their data may be sought after and destroyed or lost under Trump's administration. And today it was announced that they are racing. This is not a joke. Everybody, listen to me. They're racing to make copies of the research to protect it, everything that they have done on climate change. 2 professors in the Technoscience Research Unit at the University of Toronto are holding what they're calling a guerrilla archiving event to preserve data about the environment. They ask citizens who care about Trump, data, or the environment to participate in a full day of hackathon activities in preparation for the Trump's presidency. I'm not making this up. Likewise, the Penn program in the Environmental Humanities, the PPEH lab, set up a data refuge and asked scientists to prioritize the work that they feel should be archived and to work together to protect it. They set up a Google spreadsheet where anyone can flag data they're concerned about. It was also so overwhelmed with responses over the weekend that it stopped taking suggestions in the spreadsheet. They had to reorganize and ask people that were offering help to use this form. Now, it goes as far as this. Meteorological journalist Eric Holthus called the incoming administration hostile to science and their recent actions and statements during their transition a war on science. This isn't a presidential transition, he writes in the Washington Post. It's a 21st century book burning. He sent out a tweet to his followers asking them to participate in the protection of this data. Now, Alex, I know that you know a lot about climate change and you're outspoken about it. Trump's comments and I'm very concerned about this, that his comments, part of which got him elected,
right,
was saying that the Chinese were doing this to attack our economy. That's he got people to believe this, and that was part of his platform. And what do you think that this says to the scientists today and the ones that are really seriously studying climate change, which I doubt that Trump knows anything about it at all? But do these scientists have a right to be alarmed with their data?
Yeah, I mean, it also tells them that data is irrelevant today, that people are going to believe based on a belief system, not based on data. So if data becomes irrelevant, people more likely to believe a tweet versus a study. That's dangerous ground. That's very dangerous. Whatever side you fall on, with the climate change or any theory of evolution or whatever. But if you start attacking science and studies, that's a slippery slope, man. That's not, And with all due respect to anybody that's out there that's a Christian or whatever, I really believe in the separation of church and science. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened.
Right.
And I think we need to maintain that, whatever that entails. And it's irrelevant of whether these studies end up proving or disproving climate change or any other study, but every study should be allowed to publish and then people can read the data for themselves. But if you start suppressing data, that's the Soviet Union.
Alex, you are one of the smartest guys that I know, man. And I want to thank you for coming in tonight, hanging in the bunker for 3 straight hours. Did you have fun?
Absolutely. I can't believe it's been 3 hours. It's so fast.
I know, right? Well, the good thing is I'm going to read credits here in just a second. And then after that, we've got some chilled vodka right behind you in the refrigerator in the bunker. But then again, you already knew that. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar, Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Drew, the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. I want to thank Alex Mistretta, Rick Sinnett, and no-show Steve Murillo. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Say goodnight, Alex.
Good night. Thanks for listening.
Until tomorrow night's Fader Night, John Rappaport. Open lines all night long. Everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.